You pulled.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Fired my weapon twice.
you
and,
shot
Mhm.
him?
Yes.
Mm.
And he passed away.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Where'd you hit him at?
His chest.
Ooh.
And yeah.
Do you remember this experience? Like when you fire the gun, like what's going through your brain?
No.
Mm.
Kind of blackout type.
Well-
Not out. Well, the alcohol, but then also the anger.
It's called a fugue state.
Yep.
So it's not that I don't remember it. It's that it's kind of like out of body ish.
Yeah, I can imagine it would be.
I remember like not running. I remember walking, you know what I'm saying, like leaving.
Okay, we have a very special episode. I'm thrilled to have Kamal Sahr with us, who has, well, first of all, you do a lot of stuff in the community to give back.
Yeah.
A lot of reentry stuff for guys coming out of prison, so on and so forth. But you have a story of your own
I do.
and some lived experience.
That part.
So we're excited to hear this. Tell us about childhood, where you grew up, and how you were raised.
Okay. Well, childhood. Wow, that's a long time ago. It's a lot of calendars I got to flip back.
It's okay.
So I was raised in the 80s. I was born in the 70s, raised
Oh,
in the 80s.
okay. Here
they're
we
talking.
go.
Yeah, I was
My
raised in
guy.
the 80s. My dad, he owned bars, and my mom worked in retail, but like worked in retail. She worked for Lazarus.
Oh, okay.
Downtown Eastland.
Yeah, Lazarus is popping back then.
Yeah, she was a manager at Lazarus. It was pretty cool. To be honest, I had a really like childhood. I didn't
Like a good one.
A kid, yeah. I was a kid. Played in the dirt, you know what I'm saying? Collected Hot Wheels and baseball cards, and you know what I mean? My neighborhood was a pretty decent neighborhood from my perspective, from my vantage point.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up right off of Cleveland Avenue.
Okay.
Kenmore and Cleveland.
Local.
Man.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Moved from Kenmore down to Genesee. We still, you know what I'm saying, a kid. But yeah, before we moved to Kenmore, we moved there when I was about 7 or
Okay.
8 years old. Before then, it was in Urban Hollow in Grove City. Yeah, that was interesting. But I was a kid. Again, you know what I'm saying? I was a kid. I didn't have the words that kids have today. I didn't have those kind of words. I
Yeah.
was like, yeah.
80s.
Yeah, it was pretty easy. School was easy. I got a lot of siblings though. I have 11 brothers and sisters.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and I fall in the middle, right there.
So you're one of 12.
Yes.
God bless your parents, man.
Yeah. Well, my dad has 12 kids. My mom has 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what does that look like in the household growing up?
Well, growing up, it was 5 of us in the household. My two eldest brothers, my my dad's oldest kids, they lived in a household with me, my brother, and my sister, and my mom and dad.
Okay.
So yeah.
So there's what, seven in the house total?
Yeah, at all times. Now there was a given. I mean, my younger siblings, any given summer,
They could pop up.
They could pop up and be there for 3, 4, 5 months. You know what I'm saying? A year or so. You know what I mean? So.
What's the space like, man? Is it just bumper to bumper in the house?
Well,
of
we
people?
over there on Kenmore, the house was pretty big. The house was pretty big. It was 3 bedrooms, and the boys shared a
Okay.
room, and then my sister had her own room because she was the only girl.
Sure.
But yeah, it didn't seem like it was crowded. You know what I mean? It just seemed like that was the norm. I mean, looking back, it was pretty crowded.
Yeah. Big
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
Big family.
Yeah.
Take us to high school.
Oh wow, high school started off at Brookhaven.
Okay.
Anybody familiar with Brookhaven High School?
Oh yeah, I
Yep.
used to live over
Yeah.
there.
Yep.
That was the school I was supposed to do it all at. But we moved right across the street from Brookhaven, and then I went to Mifflin.
Okay.
They busted me to Mifflin. Brookhaven and Mifflin were rivals. So,
Oh, really?
yeah,
Okay.
it was a thing.
Okay.
So I left Mifflin, went to Northland, and graduate. I was supposed to graduate from Northland. I didn't graduate. I ended up getting my GED. They kicked me out my senior year.
They
on
kicked
my
you out.
birthday. Yeah.
On your birthday?
On my birthday.
Happy
Yeah.
birthday.
Yeah, what'd you do?
They said I was a disturbance to my class.
Were
I
you?
was just, I mean, looking back, yeah.
What'd you do? What
I was
was
just popular. I just did
It's like
stuff.
class clown
Yeah,
stuff.
not really class clown. I did stuff. My dad, let's back up a little bit. He was, I want to see how politely I can put it. You know what I mean? He kind of back in the day he sold dope. He was a kind of a bigger dope guy.
Oh,
Yeah, like
he
in the
was the real
streets.
deal.
Yeah, back in the day. Yeah, so my dad, he used to sell dope, but he was always a smart dude. He was always, and even though he sold dope, he was like in the community. Like it was so wild. It was
It was like some
dynamic.
Breaking Bad shit where he
Yeah.
blended in.
No, if
He like gave back to the community, like from the success of his drug business.
well, my dad was the president of Just Say No for a while.
Ain't that some shit?
Holy shit!
Yeah,
Damn.
just saying. So
Dare?
yeah, the whole gig. Yeah.
What's Dad selling? Is he selling like coke or? Is
Yeah,
he
he
selling
sold
weed?
coke.
Okay.
Coke.
Crack?
weed back in the
Or I
day.
know crack.
Well, no, this
was-
is pre-crack.
Yeah,
Okay.
This
it's
is
like
pre-crack. This is the
freebase
80s.
coke.
Okay.
Yeah, 80s. Yeah, so that was
So your dad's in the
time.
Dare program.
So
Yeah,
your
it was
dad
wild.
was the president
Yep.
of Just Say No.
Just Say No.
And behind the scenes,
Yep.
he's moving bricks.
That's
Yeah.
kind of a brilliant marketing scheme, though. It's like just say
Never
no.
went to jail for it. You know what I'm saying? But this is the
So
what's
it's
it
all
called?
old.
Yeah, old stuff.
Never got caught.
I'll segue real quick if I can. You know what I'm saying about my dad.
Yeah, please.
Because he was who he was. But today, yeah, dude is one of the best humans I've met. Like in real life, he's
Cleaned it up.
The way that he's grown. You got to keep. I met my dad when he was in his, late 20s. You know what I mean? He's only been in my life for my entire life. But who he is today, he's 75 now.
Damn. Okay.
Dude is he's an amazing guy, like in real life.
We want to take a moment to announce an exciting partnership with K&B Clothing Line, a brand that truly aligns with our visions and dedication to recovery.
I started drinking at 13 years old, searching for belonging. By high school, I was lost in addiction, trading childhood for chaos. Alcohol made me feel accepted until it nearly took everything. I hit rock bottom more times than I can count. When I thought no one could help, I found people who never gave up on me. Sobriety isn't easy, it's a battle. But now I fight with love, with service, with purpose. I'm more than my past. This isn't just a sweatshirt, it's a symbol of survival, of strength, of never giving up. Wear it as a reminder. Every step forward is a victory. This is Mark's story.
Go to www.liveinspiredknb.com and use code GETAGRIP for 10% off your first purchase.
That's crazy. That's
Like in real life.
yeah. That's
Dude is different.
he's like Gus. It's like Gus Fring. That's like seriously.
No, if you could have his story, like, because I can't really tell his story, but
Yeah.
the dude is, yeah, he's.
But
he's,
to like me moving bricks and then also
That part.
being the president of Just Say No.
yeah, and then was like in real life, I didn't know my father. You know what I'm saying? This was his life until I was maybe 16.
You found this out later.
Yeah, when I was like 16. You know what I'm saying? At the time, my dad was just dad. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We went,
right.
had barbecues,
Sure.
vacations. You know what
God,
I'm saying? The whole
even
nine
you
yards.
didn't know.
No way. Had no idea.
So you never had like run-ins with like geeks coming over, or is he like, where's he doing his business outside the
No.
house?
Yeah, outside the house. But I will tell you that we used to have a lot of cookouts, and all my uncles would come by. And you know what I mean? That wasn't an odd thing because we always had cookouts, and all my uncles always came by. Anywho, about 16, I kind of the light bulb went off.
Things.
Walked in on my brother. You know what I'm saying? Cutting up some cocaine,
Okay.
and that's how I kind of realized that he
Something's
was
weird
yeah.
here.
So when you walk in and your brother cutting up cocaine, what's the initial reaction? Like, what do you say or do? Like, how do you remember?
Well, I didn't really know what it was.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was, so I just, you know what I mean. But I knew it was drugs. you know what I
Yeah,
mean? 'Cause,
right.
you know what I mean, I wasn't. You know what I mean, I wasn't there. I was just saying that. Wow, man. But yeah, once I see, you know what I mean, kind of saw it, it was kind of like, yeah, it wasn't like a wow thing. It was just like,
Yeah.
okay,
So what do you think about Dad then? Are you like, oh, cool, my dad's
no,
dealing coke?
it really, because that when I found out about it, it was like on his exit from out the game. You know what I'm saying? He was like
Damn,
leaving.
he was smart.
the game. So I by the time that I was able to even articulate a response or say something, my dad was just,
was out.
Yeah, he was already out the game. Yeah.
You rarely meet or hear of somebody like your dad who did what he did,
Yeah.
hit it so well, and then fucking exited before getting in trouble.
Yeah,
Yeah.
retired drug dealers
That
are.
Yeah.
never
Very rare.
happens.
No, and I promise you I know it.
I mean, that never happens.
Yeah.
They always get caught. Like
Every single time.
every fucking time.
It never works.
Jeez.
Yeah.
All right, so tell us. You said you had to get your GED. There's a reason for that. You said you got kicked out because you were a disturbance, so to speak.
Yeah.
So talk to us about that.
Okay, so that's a kind of dense part of my life.
Okay.
My parents got divorced when I was 15. My sister got pregnant the same year. She was 16. She's a year older than I am.
Okay.
So when my parents were divorced, we moved into an apartment from house. Now, I had never lived in an apartment before. So we moved into an apartment, and it was just different. Still going to school. School was fine. School was easy, but it was easier for me to, I don't want to say act out, but it was easier for me to garner the attention I was getting because I was smart. School was easy, and
You didn't really have to like try.
right, I didn't
it just
try.
kind of came naturally.
yeah, I didn't really try. I remember my sister being pregnant, and my mom went and bought all this stuff for her, the baby. And it was like the beginning of school, and I remember she bought me 5 T-shirts. Now, mind you, I'm 15 years old, and I'm used to getting school clothes. My dad always had,
Taking care.
like I'm talking
Yep.
not $100 in school. We got
Whatever you
school
want.
clothes.
Yeah. Whatever you want.
And I remember stealing her charge card and going and charging up school clothes.
Interesting.
About $1,000 worth of school clothes.
Damn.
Yeah. She was so livid. Took me downtown, tried to drop me off at the
Precinct.
with the child, where the
Juvie?
juvenile that dropped me
Juvie,
off
damn.
the juvie. They were closed. So she said, pardon my expression.
Was she going to press charges?
I'm pretty sure she was. And yeah, I'm pretty sure she was. Because I think that you had to do that, like to not pay.
Because you can't just go down to drop you off. and-
Right. So she was trying to drop me off and they were closed, and she just looked over, she said, "Get the fuck out my car."
And you got out?
Yeah, it's my mom. If I didn't, I probably wouldn't be sitting here.
So what'd you do?
Well, I went. Eventually, I made my way back home, and she dropped me off at my dad's house. Moved in with my dad.
Okay.
By this time, you gotta remember, my dad is a retired drug dealer.
Okay.
So my dad is a retired drug dealer that is a full-fledged alcoholic.
Interesting.
Full-fledged. When I say full-fledged, now mind you, my father had been an alcoholic for years.
Did this come after the drug dealing, or was
Well-
he like using and selling, or
Oh,
like?
I'm pretty sure my dad used cocaine because he's
Okay.
talked about using cocaine before.
Okay.
But the alcohol, because he wasn't like a coke head.
Right.
What I say, you know what I'm saying? He was
Yeah.
dealing dope and he was dealing cocaine, so he
Right.
did cocaine. But he was an alcoholic. He owned bars. The access was easy, and it was an easy, you know what I'm saying, turn
Yeah,
off for him.
of course.
So when I say my father was alcoholic, like he was like a on a corner alcoholic.
No shit.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Like it was bad. It was bad.
And you're a kid.
Yeah, I'm 15. So when I moved in with my dad, everything changed. Everything changed. He lived on 25th in Cleveland. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the area,
I am.
but he lived on 25th in Cleveland, like right by Billiter. And where I grew up was on Kenmore. So I would always walk down to my neighborhood. 25th was still my neighborhood, but it wasn't.
That's a
where
rough
I grew up.
neighborhood.
Well, when I was there, I was there.
Yeah.
It didn't seem
It was
rough.
just
It seemed
normal.
I was normal. You know what I'm saying? It was my neighborhood. And I got robbed. I got robbed for my shoes. I had some brand new Huaraches. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Okay. Tell us about it. Tell us about this.
So listen, I called my sister because what's wild is we owned the house on Kenmore. We moved out the house on Kenmore, moved into a house on Genesee. My father let my little sister's family move into the house on Kenmore.
Okay.
Whole nother story.
Okay.
Whole nother story.
Okay.
So I would walk down from 25th to Kenmore
So you're walking.
a lot of times. So I'm walking. It was dark outside. It was late. I'm going on there. We're going on there to smoke some weed, drink some vodka, whatever we get our hands on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kick it. I was walking down the alley that runs along Cleveland Avenue, and a guy said, "Hey man, you got a light?" I'm 15. Yeah, I got a lighter. You know what I mean? Next thing I knew, it was a shotgun upside my head, and
Damn.
yeah,
Put the
yeah,
shotgun out on you.
it was different. Like I never. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah. So
And they said what?
yeah, give me what you got. They took my little money, my little necklace, my shoes, and a little pager. That's when pagers.
Dude, when they take the shoes, that's just
That's
like
the worst.
it
Now
was-
you got to
it
walk
was
through the hood.
so tough.
It's wild because I make light of it right now, but in reality, that is when my life changed. That's when every aspect of my thought process. Everything changed. Everything changed because I just, I grew up around good people. I grew up around humans that did human stuff, and
Right.
you know what I mean,
Normal.
yeah, normal stuff. I never experienced. I didn't. I don't think that I'd known anybody that experienced it, like being stuck up.
Interesting.
So it shifted a lot.
Okay.
So I ended up walking over to my sister's house. I'm all crying and
Yeah, you
beat
got
up
nothing. You're
yeah.
fucked up. Just lost your shoes.
The next day, I got a 38 special.
You went and got a gun.
The next day. And,
How did you get a gun at that age?
Well, I to be honest, I asked for it
From
from a friend of mine.
and
Yeah.
he just said, "Here you go."
Yeah, he was like, yeah. I mean, because he knew what happened. I
Yeah.
mean, but in
It's
reality,
for protection.
where I'm from,
Yeah.
that's the go-to. That was the normal thing. I couldn't think of like going and finding somebody and doing something to somebody. It was, this won't happen again. And yeah, that was the day that I started carrying a gun.
38 special.
At
38
15.
special at 15.
That's insane, bro.
Yep, 15. And I carried it every day. Every day, without fail. It was part of my clothes.
Yeah.
It was part of my outfit.
Part of your daily routine.
Yeah, now mind you, I was still in school.
Yep.
I'm still in school.
Gonna ask you, bringing this to school?
I'm still in school. So when this happened, I'm 15. I'm in the 11th grade.
Okay.
In the 11th grade.
Yep. Yep.
They kicked me out of school and sent me to what's called I-Pass at North Adult. It was like a you're too bad to be in school. So I went to I-Pass and I was there for maybe 3 months.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly what happened where I got into with the staff there, but they were like, yeah, you know what I'm saying, you can either come here or not. So I ended up going to work for the rest of that school year. Like my dad said, you're either going to work or you're going to go to school. I went to work.
Okay.
Yeah, that was different.
What kind of work do you do as a 15-year-old kid?
My dad worked for a moving company, Lewis and Michael Allied Moving.
Okay,
Allied
so you got your
Shippers.
job there.
Yeah, and you got to mind you at 15, 16 years old. I'm like 16 at the time. By this time comes around, I was making $700 a week. You know what I'm
Straight
saying?
money.
At
That's what,
16, no
90s,
kids,
early
it's just
90s?
me. Yeah, I'm like 90s.
Yeah,
It's
that's
about
that's
94,
good money.
95.
crazy good money.
Yeah. By the time I was now mind you, I lived with my dad until I was maybe almost 18.
Okay.
I was almost 18. I moved in back with my mom because my dad was just getting a little, the alcohol. He was getting a little more and more down that path of alcoholism. Like it was starting to affect everything.
Was there? I mean, obviously, I'm sure his demeanor changed. But was there violence? Was there anything like that?
No,
with
he
the
wasn't.
alcoholism.
He wasn't like a violent dude. He wasn't violent. He was like a man's man, like a manly dude.
Sure.
But he never jumped on me or
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? It was just he could say some mean things when you're drinking, but you know what I mean, as a kid you see the switch when the alcohol is introduced.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was what 15, 16.
So your life takes this turn. You get this pistol
Yeah.
to protect yourself.
Yeah.
Take us to Take us to the GED, and then what happens next?
Well, yeah, the GED came about when I was kicked out of I-Pass and wasn't allowed to go back into
Okay.
school. So the GED, I went down and I took it one day and I passed it a day. It was I didn't go to like a class or anything
Just
like that.
boom.
As a matter, I caught the coda down there and took it. But after that, it was like, what do I do now?
And what did you do?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
What does hell?
Worked.
What does hell look like?
It's wild because, and I'm pretty sure you guys probably know what nothing looks like.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally that I just happened to be existing. I would get a job at a fast food joint for a couple of
Okay.
weeks, or I'd try and sell some weed and this. I mean, whatever.
You were trying to figure out, how to make the money and what's the quickest way, the easiest way, whatever.
Because at the time, school didn't seem like a reality to me. It didn't seem like I like going to college or something like that. It
Right.
didn't seem like, they kicked me out of school, so I'm not good at that.
Yeah, clearly I'm not fit for college. They
Right.
kicked me out.
So I ended up connecting with a guy named B, and he had a weed spot. This is back when they had weed houses. You know what I'm saying? They had a weed spot.
He was
And
growing.
no, he was selling weed.
Okay.
So what it was is he gave me a shift in his weed spot. So I started
Explain that for our viewers.
it's
What's that
like
mean?
A legitimate shift is like 7 to 11, 11 to 7, 7
Oh,
to 3. Yeah, like a shift.
You worked.
I worked third shift in the weed spot. Like
So it's like a bando, or like
no,
is
no,
it
no.
like
It's an
somebody's
apartment.
house?
Like
It's
a
an
tra-
apartment.
like
Like
a
say for
trap?
instance, and a trap house like
Okay.
this, and they would come knock on the door and let me get a quarter or whatever it was. Usually quarters back then. Of course,
Yeah.
it was $25, and I was able to, make money that way.
And
Work the shift.
That was your shift.
Yep, work the shift.
Okay.
I worked that shift until they attempted a guy tried to rob him. He ended up killing a guy at the door, so the trap was shut down.
Your guy?
Yeah, he ended up killing a guy that tried to rob him. Yeah.
Where is he now?
Oh, I'm not sure where he is now. But he didn't go to jail for it. He didn't go to prison
self-defense?
for it. Yep.
Really?
Yep. And there is no self-defense law at the time.
Yeah.
But dude was kicking the door in and he shot him.
And what's the transaction look like? Is it one of those you slide the slot?
Oh, no, come on in.
Oh, you come in.
Yeah, come on in.
Okay.
It's a door. Now the door was a heavy door. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But yeah, come on in. It was weed.
Yeah, right.
You know,
exactly.
back then,
It's just
back
weed,
then
yeah.
we used to call him Burger. Burger used to tell me, he said, man, the weed man, you never heard about the weed man's door getting kicked in unless he was selling heroin out the side.
Yep.
That was his line. So we just sold weed. That's all he did was sold weed.
Right.
And that's what I did. So when the door got kicked in and he killed the guy and that shut that down, he didn't have a spot. Me and my guy Malcolm, I hope he doesn't mind me saying his name. Malcolm, I ain't gonna tell you his last name, but
No, that's
moved in
fine.
with him and we was like, you know what, hey, we could make this the
We
spot.
could probably do this.
And that's what we did. And then, kind of grew from there.
All right.
Yeah. So
How-
I started selling weed and I was kind of decent at that for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, then that, again, that was just for a while. It never is really successful.
What's a while? How long did you successfully
3
sell?
years, 2-3 years.
Okay, that's more than that's
Yeah.
a good haul.
Well, it was when I say successful, I wasn't like, buying houses and,
Right.
I was saying, 'cause it's hard to make
investing.
money on weed.
Yeah,
right?
I wasn't.
Like,
I was just sitting back and I would kick. You know what I'm saying, 17, 18, 19 years old. So it was really just to kick it. I'm selling weed to kick it.
It felt good, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
I was doing something.
I loved the feeling of people. I sold weed and drugs too, and I loved the feeling of like my phone ringing.
Yeah,
and
people
like
needing
people
you on
needing
some
you.
level, yeah.
That was like,
Yeah.
that was the biggest thing for me.
Yeah,
Was that like, oh, you need me? Is that right?
that part.
I loved it.
Yeah. So I did that for a while, and that didn't really work. So I started burglarizing. Somebody else showed me this. You know what I'm saying? Showed me how to burglarize.
You got taught this.
Got taught how to burglarize. So I'm like,
who taught you this?
I'll say it was an old friend,
Okay,
but it was a guy that I knew, and that's what he was doing. And it was like that was his
and it worked.
hustle.
and that's
he
just
was
breaking into houses.
breaking into houses.
Okay.
Yeah, he would take and he would jimmy the lock, like he would pick the lock
Oh damn!
and get in these houses. Now this is pre-camera everywhere, pre-ring, all this kind of thing. So I'm like, this is, and he was leaving in a day and coming back with $5,000.
Damn.
Jesus.
What are you? What? So he
How-
showed me, and it was
Yeah,
that I did that
teach
for
me.
about a year or two.
So tell us about
Successfully.
tell us about it. How many?
Well, it
tell
was,
us about the first one.
Okay, the first one, oh goodness. The first one was like this building,
Okay,
a
apartment.
quadplex.
And how old are you?
Right now?
At this
Oh, at
at
the time,
age
I'm
you're doing
maybe
this.
18,
Okay,
19.
so you're a kid still.
Yeah, I'm still like, it's 18, 19.
Okay.
The first time it was because it was with him, and I was able to watch him do it, and I was amazed by it. I was just amazed. I was amazed at the accuracy, the time. You know what I'm saying? It was like he was just good at it. And I didn't see it as a criminal, you know what I'm saying, thought process or a criminal element. I saw it as he's good at this. If he's good, I could be good at this.
Yeah.
I was good at it for as long as I thought I was until it got caught. Yeah.
How do you make sure nobody's home? You just knock,
Knock.
and that's it?
Knock.
What if somebody's out cold in the back? You ever had any of those
That's
like
a risk you run.
experiences?
Oh yeah.
Where you walk in and like, oh
Yes.
shit, he's
Oh
in bed.
yeah. I've had that happen 2 or 3 times.
People in the house.
People in the house.
So what do you do?
Run.
Just open the door and like,
You
oh,
run.
sorry.
You run, and and seriously, I don't. One time it was like hey, don't. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get a threatening voice and all kinds of stuff, but yeah, you run. the hell, stick
Yeah,
somebody
you
shoot in
can't. You
your
can't,
face.
can't hit that house. Yeah.
Yeah, no. But that was the youthful space thinking that I could actually live.
Right.
Like I had no tomorrow. If tomorrow was here, I didn't make plans for next week. I didn't make plans for next year. You know what I'm saying? It was like right now. I didn't think I would die or I'd be dead. My existence wasn't real. I don't know if that makes sense, but
No, I understand totally what you mean.
And how do you decide who's your mark for that day? Is it just like, all right, there's a house down there, let's try that?
back then it was
Great question.
How my brain thought then is there were telltale signs.
Okay.
People's mail would build up. It would be the neighborhood. It would be a lack of people moving around. It was just little signs, little things that you would see. It
You
was the type of
watched.
house. You know what I'm saying? If it was things in the garbage, a lot of things. It was a lot of things that, you know what I'm saying, I picked up of other guys that did it.
for instance, the Black Friday when
Yeah.
people leave the TV boxes out.
Right.
You
right.
know,
Oh,
there's a
yeah.
brand new TV in that
Right.
fucking house.
Right. Or just say, for instance, the neighborhood, like over here in this area,
Yeah.
you would just assume that there were older people.
Yep.
You would assume that all of them don't believe in banks. You would assume that there's a stash somewhere in somebody's closet, in somebody's drawer. There's a gun somewhere. There, you know what I'm saying? Because you got to think that as a burglar, you're not thinking you're going to hit this one house and it's going to be the score of a lifetime
yeah.
and you're going to win and never have to do
Sure.
this again.
Sure.
You intend when you leave out at 7:00 or in the morning or whatever time at night. Usually this was in the daytime because people go to work. You go with the intention of hitting 5, 10, 15 houses. Or, you know what I'm saying, properties. That's the thought process.
Wow.
And you're always kind of watching for more. Like,
Yeah.
You ever get lazy with it?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of
Because like it's
course.
hard to if you've cased all your joints out and hit them all, like you tend to get lazy, right?
Well,
And
you
it's
get
like-
lazy when you like kick a door in versus picking a lock, or you know what I'm saying, you really don't.
You start
need
taking
to-
shortcuts.
Yeah, or you
not following the rules.
right.
And that's
What
what
you
gets
were
you caught.
taught.
Yep.
So tell us, you said you got caught,
Yes.
and
Got caught.
that's what started.
That started to be honest, my introduction to again, let me back. My storytelling is horrible.
No, you're doing
Back to high
you're
school,
great.
when I was kicked out of high school, it was because I was suspended for, I forget what I was suspended for, but I went back to my high school, and that's my introduction to law enforcement, to the judicial system. They arrested me for criminal trespass.
Oh, because you went back there.
Yep.
Why'd you
While
go,
under
why,
suspension.
Why'd you go back?
I'm not sure. I was a kid. My friends were there. I was suspended.
Were you just trying to like show up and pretend like you still go there?
Well, no. I was enrolled at school.
Yeah.
That was my school. I just been suspended for like 3 days.
Okay.
Yeah, I was under suspension.
And you showed up, and they actually
Yeah.
trespassed you.
Yeah.
Jesus. And you went to jail for that?
Yep.
For a
Wow.
criminal trespass?
Yep. First
What-
time I went to jail,
what,
and
you
I was
sit-
in jail for 2.5 days, 3 days.
For that,
Yep.
as a minor?
When I was 18.
Wow.
You downtown or at the
Downtown.
workhouse? Downtown.
Huh.
Yep. And what's wild is that my bond was $55.
And couldn't pay it.
No, I could.
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
know I could.
Ah.
It was a CO. This is one of them stories. It was a CO. His name was Jackson. He said, "Hey, man, you still here?" I said, "Yeah, I can't reach anybody to, you know what I'm saying, pay my
Get me
bond."
out.
He said, "You got any money on your books?" I'm like, "Yeah, I had like $400 on my books." He said, well, you can pay your own bond." It was like a misdemeanor. I was out later that day.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it was a different. That was a different experience. But my introduction to
Was it shocking at all? Like, how'd you?
mind blowing,
Yeah.
mind blowing.
Just jail.
I
and-
couldn't understand it. I couldn't understand it. My brain couldn't really
Yeah.
grasp that I was in jail for going to school.
Yeah.
And that's how my brain as a kid, you know what I'm saying, came with it. It wasn't that I was in jail for criminally trespassing on school property. And
Right.
that
It's not like
wasn't
you
what
committed a crime.
Right. I wasn't out there
really.
Like,
stealing
I was
or
trying to do
punching
the
on
right
people. It
thing
was-
and go to
yeah.
jail.
I went to jail.
Damn, bud.
So
Okay.
that was different, and that kind of put the experience put something on, and I'm not sure what it put on, but it made it to where it was easier.
I get that.
To like
get into that
justify
space.
doing crimes.
No, to just get into that space.
Oh, okay.
It's wild is that when you get into some sort of trouble, you start to think that you wear it, like other people can see it. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? Like they
yeah.
see that you were. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm walking into a space, it's like the jacket says, "Hey, I'm the guy that."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's not the reality, but you don't realize that until you realize that's not the reality.
It's called imposter syndrome,
Mm.
where you have all this shit from your past,
Mm-hmm.
and you know it,
Yeah.
but they don't. And you, like you said, it almost feels like you're wearing it,
Yeah.
but they
As
can't
if they
see.
shoot, like if they shoot, they know, and they don't.
Right.
Anyways, segue to I went to jail. I went to jail for burglary and for carrying a concealed weapon.
What? So what? Yeah. What were your charges?
Burglary and carrying a concealed weapon.
F2
And F3. But then they had like a
F2.
criminal tools.
They threw some extra shit
criminal
on you.
tools and stuff
That's
like that.
nice of them.
So I went to jail, and then they sentenced me to prison.
Damn.
So you go to Jackson Pike, I'm assuming.
Yep, sat in Jackson Pike for.
How was
a
the
while.
Pike for you?
Oh my gosh! Back then, it was the
I'm
worst
curious.
experience ever. What's wild is that while I was there, I suffered what's called a spontaneous pneumothorax. My lung collapsed, just because
While you were in jail.
while I was in jail.
Okay, so you had like a medical situation
Right.
happen.
So my lung collapses. I go to, you know what I'm saying? It was called edema at the time, where they stab me in the chest, put this tube in, go through this experience. While I'm in, because I could have bonded out. While I'm in the hospital with the tube in my chest, my first son is born.
Damn.
My eldest son is born down the street at OSU. So, I mean, I went through that space, and then I'm like not there. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not there.
Yeah.
He was born December 20th. I got out of the hospital.
It's my birthday.
Yeah, that's my son's birthday.
12/20, yeah.
Yep, 12/20. I
That's
played in
funny.
the lottery every single day. I hit it a couple weeks ago.
Oh, shit.
I did, yeah.
I'm going to start playing my birthday.
And what was I saying? Yeah, he was born. I got out
yeah.
January 3rd. I got from out of jail and the hospital January 3rd, and that's when I met my son. But and I was on probation for the burglary and carrying a concealed weapon. I was on probation for it.
So no prison yet.
No prison
They put
yet.
you on paper.
Put me on paper.
Okay.
I violated probation.
Okay.
How I violated probation was, I want to say it was another gun.
Ooh.
You
I
got
wanna say it was
caught?
another gun. Got caught
Like
with
the
a gun.
worst thing to violate.
Oh,
for.
so you're screwed.
Yeah, I'm screwed. So
You're screwed.
I go into the courtroom and my lawyer's in there. He's like, "Hey man, listen, trust me, this is a good guy. Don't send him to prison." And the judge said, "Fuck you, dude. When you was here last time, you know what I'm saying? I didn't believe your punk ass. You're going to prison." So almost verbatim, that's what he said. But
Really?
yeah, like he was like, "Dude, I didn't believe you the last
He
time
was
you were
hot.
here."
He was hot.
Yeah, no, you're going to prison. So he sentenced me to prison. I went to Orient.
Okay.
This is in 1999.
Damn.
380965.
The
That's you.
number.
That's you.
The number.
That's the number.
That's you.
In jail, when I was in prison at Orient, mind you, I was a real live kid. Like I was a kid. I used to box, so it was different. Like I wasn't afraid in
Right.
prison. It was
Right.
just like it was unreal. It
How
just,
am I here? Like
yeah,
the
it
math
just was
didn't
not
add
real.
up
I'm
type
sitting
deal.
back and I'm looking at guys that had been in prison for 40 years. And I'm looking at guys that, you know what I'm saying, leave tomorrow. And guys, you know what I'm saying? It was just I couldn't understand it.
What was your sentence?
24 months.
Okay.
24
2
months.
years.
And I did 24 months.
They didn't judicia you
Yeah.
before that?
Nope. No. I filed for it and they didn't give it to me. They let me out on probation. But while I was in
Yeah,
prison,
tell us about some of the stuff you saw in there, man.
that's the first time I'd ever seen a dude, like two dudes. A dude that was like a girl
Yeah.
and a dude like I'd never seen that. Even growing up, maybe it wasn't very prevalent to see like transgender or
Right.
like that was the first time I ever
Especially
seen it.
back then.
Yeah, and it was like, what in the world is going on here? My introduction to hooch,
Okay.
a different kind of, like I used to hustle. I used to make sandwiches. You know what I'm saying? Like they would steal meat and cheese and mayonnaise from the kitchen and I would make sandwiches and sell sandwiches. But what I did there is I went to school. I went to school and I worked out a little bit.
Okay.
When I went to school, I started to, you know what I'm saying? It was, I started to see something different. You know what I'm saying? I could do something different. I ain't really got to do what I've been doing.
Was there any like gang affiliations, like did you have to roll with anybody,
No.
or did you kind of?
In all my prison experience, I've been lucky enough to fall into them catchment areas, and then lucky / uncanny, my neighborhoods were there. You know what I'm saying? So like
People.
I knew people there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't. I wasn't there like I didn't know anybody.
Right.
So I didn't have to run with a gang or anything like that. And then I wasn't a small guy. I lost a lot of weight now because I went through cancer. I'll tell you about that later. But I was just bigger. You know what I'm saying? I was a bigger dude, and
And you said you were a boxer,
No, I wasn't a boxer. I just used to box.
so you got the technique.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, I didn't. And then I used to like to fight. Yeah, fighting was because you were good. I mean, I was good at it.
Did you? So were you getting into fights in
Oh,
prison?
yeah.
For what? Give us a story.
One story.
Yeah.
God, I don't know what it was.
Something. I know it's always silly.
Yeah, I would say
it's
it's always
something
simple.
stupid and simple.
And somebody talking out the side of their neck, or
Yep.
you got to feel like I felt like I had to save face, or you know what I'm saying. It was somebody that stole something, or
Yeah.
accused me of stealing something. It was always something when I was younger. But again, it wasn't something I didn't want to clear the air either. You know what I'm saying. I wanted to fight,
Yeah.
so it wasn't about, you know what I mean, like getting an understanding then.
So how'd you handle the first one? What happened?
Oh, I just fought. It was
But like over. Do you remember what it was
I'm
about?
not sure. I'm not sure what it was about. I'm
You-
pretty
and-
sure it was over some perceived money, some perceived honey
Money.
buns or whatnot.
Did you go up to him? You started it.
No. I've never been I ain't been that kind of guy.
So he started it.
Yeah, nor if I ever, even when I was younger, if it was that kind of situation, yeah, I try and make sure I'm in the right. Yeah, I try and make sure I'm in the right. But yeah, no.
And he came up to you, and you.
Yeah, and then you gotta keep in mind that I was a kid, and I don't remember exactly what it was. I just remember actually being in fights. You know what I'm saying? I remember fighting a lot. Not a lot at Orient, but it was just like what it was.
Well, you got moved at one point, right?
In Orient?
Didn't you say you went to the lab or something?
Oh,
Or is this a different charge down the road? Am I getting ahead of myself?
this is
Oh shit. Okay.
years later.
Okay.
Years later. Yeah, I was only at Orient that first time, and I left from Orient.
Okay.
Yeah, left from Orient, left and moved in with my dad, and my dad was still drinking at the time.
Okay.
It was 2001. He was still drinking at the time. He lived in an apartment on Westerville Road, and where Cleveland Avenue splits.
Gotcha. Yep.
They've since torn it down. But yeah.
So you get out. What's your plan? Did you sit in prison and make a plan
I
about
thought
how
I
you're going to
did.
change and
Yeah.
I'm going to do better?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's what you said. I ain't never doing this again.
Never coming back.
Hell no, this is for the birds. Only suckers do this. You know what I
Never
mean?
again.
Yeah, never again. I got it tattooed on my neck.
Really?
That's serious.
In prison?
In prison. Never again.
First time?
Never again. Seriously. With that said, though, when I got out, I went to school. Went to Columbus State, and I've been working. I'm grinding. But they didn't have a reentry process. There was no reentry process. There was no.
They just fucking.
Yeah, there were no resources. There
Here's
was no
$80
food stamp.
or $50,
Yeah.
and here's your
$55
shit.
and a
See
bus
ya.
ticket. Yep, we'll holler at you. Get out of here. And to be honest, and my parents weren't in the space that they are in now. So it was a different grind for me. It was just me. I didn't have my kid's mom was in Milwaukee at the time. You know what I'm saying? It was wild. It was a whole thing. Now, mind you, I told you that my son was born when I was handcuffed to the bed with
Yep.
a pneumothorax.
Yep.
In 1999, I went to Milwaukee because that's where my son's mom moved to.
Okay.
I went to Milwaukee, and it was Mother's Day, and we got to hanging out, kicking it, and I left, and long short, I got locked up that December of 1999,
Okay.
and I didn't get out until 2001.
That's the first. Yeah,
Right, for the first
gun.
time. So in 2001, my son's mom lets me know that she has a 1-year-old. He was born December 2nd. My birthday is December 1st. And that was my son.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
So you got a surprise son when you got out of prison.
exact, and he's my son. Like he's legitimate.
For
The
sure.
numbers
Yeah.
add up.
Oh
and
yeah, I definitely. No, number. I'm not math. Math can lie to humans. Humans can't lie to math. I went to Dana. Dana knew all this stuff. She said it was mine. So Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, I had a DNA test and everything. It was wild.
Surprise.
Yeah, so that was there. So mind you, I'd never met him. I'd never seen him, but I'm out in the street and she wanted me to move to Milwaukee and I couldn't leave because I was on probation.
Yep.
So I'm stressing about, I got kids. I'm trying to go to school, do something better. I'm walking, riding the bus. You know what I'm saying?
Trying
to
to
get it
together. Yep. That fight, God, that sucks. It's so
Yeah.
hard.
And it just never seemed to like pick up traction. Once I had a record, it just never seemed like it picked up traction. Life went on, challenges, the challenges of life. You know what I'm saying? I could tell you all about that. But I met a young lady and she had some kids and we got to kicking it and yeah. That became my family.
Got with her.
Became my family. 2000 and I'm fast forwarding because that's a whole, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
That ball is what
Yeah.
it is. 2004, 2003, my cousin, I walked to the corner store to get a blunt, some roll-ups.
Yep.
And I saw my cousin at the corner store, at the gas station on Oakland Park,
Okay.
Cleveland Avenue.
Okay.
He said, hey, let's go down to the bar. It's a bar right here called Abington. Go down here, shoot a couple games of pool, have a drink or two. I'm like, cool, I'm not doing nothing. So I went down there. Was in there, I was getting kind of wasted.
Okay.
But I was having a good time. I was with my cousin. The bartender, I noticed the bartender was like, I would set my drink on the bar and the bartender would like pour my drink out. So I'm buying drink. I'm like, hey man, like leave my drinks alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, there were no other tables.
They're almost like cutting you off, but
Not really cutting me off, but he was, because I hadn't been there a long time, but he was just had a little attitude. I couldn't really.
You
I didn't
weren't a
place
fan
it.
of that.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. So his girlfriend comes in, and she's flirting with me shooting pool.
The bartender?
The bartender's girlfriend.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah.
So when I go up to get another drink, he like kind of cussed me out, and I said, hey man, listen, you don't got nothing to worry about, man, because she was a bigger girl. I said, man, she's fat. You ain't got nothing to do. Now, mind you, I'm drunk too.
You said that.
Yeah.
You told the bartender that his girlfriend's fat.
Yeah, like because she was flirting with me, and he's like, oh,
And you're like, dog, I'm not even into that.
yeah,
She's
like
fat.
don't worry
She's a
about it,
big
bro. Just
girl.
give me my drink. So he, because that's the funny part. He jumps over the bar, jumps on me.
Holy shit.
He attacks me, jumps on me. We're fighting, and I can blame it on a whole lot of things. But after my own research and my own brain, I blame it on muscle memory. But once I got him up off me, gun comes out because I've always carried a gun.
You pulled.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Fire my weapon twice.
You
and,
shot
Mhm.
him?
Yes. And he passed away.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Where'd you hit him at?
His chest.
Ooh.
And yeah.
Do you remember this experience? Like when you fire the gun, like what's going through your brain?
No.
Kind of blackout type.
Well-
Not out. Well, the alcohol, but then also the anger.
It's called a fugue state.
Yep.
So it's not that I don't remember it. It's that it's kind of like out of body ish.
Yeah. I can imagine it would be.
I remember like not running. I remember walking, you know what I'm saying, like leaving.
So you shoot this guy.
Mhm.
He goes down.
Mhm.
And you leave.
Yes.
Okay. And whoever calls 911,
Calls 911.
they grab him. He passes away.
Yes. Yeah.
Is he dead on scene?
Yeah.
Okay. And what's the atmosphere like? Is everybody freaking out?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm thinking that's the case, but you got to keep in mind, for me, a lot of what I'm recollecting is from the video, because there's a video.
Okay.
A lot of what I recollect
Security
is from
camera
then.
footage.
Yeah. So yeah, that was what that was.
So you leave. What happens? Like,
Well, I left.
how long are you on the street before they're grabbing you up?
I left. This happened in September. I left, and I woke up in the morning, and because I really didn't kind of realize.
Yeah, the gravity. Yep.
So I'm watching the news. I'm asleep on the couch. I wake up to the news, and I see the news. I'm like, wow, huh? I go and I check my firearm. Yeah, I saw the 2 shells had been spent, and I called my dad. Yep, called my dad. He came by, and we chopped it up and talked about it, and the police were still at the bar. And right then, that's when I left. I left Columbus. I went to Cleveland.
You fled, kind
fled.
of.
No, I fled.
Well, I
Wasn't
mean,
even
yeah.
kinda.
No kind
You
of
didn't go
about it.
very far, though. It's not
Well,
like you went to Puerto Rico or
I
some
went to
shit.
Cleveland because they didn't know who I was.
Okay.
I left Cleveland 2 weeks later because they knew who I was. My
Okay.
cousin had told them who I was.
Oh man.
Whole nother story. So the cousin that I was with,
Oh.
a week or so later, he got caught with a gun and some drugs.
Ah.
And
So he
He
ratted
told
on
So
me,
you.
he
hey, I know
fucking
who that
he
is.
traded. Ah.
so that's how I figure out who I was.
Yeah.
So they put me on the news. My sister calls Cleveland. Oh my God, you're on the news. Because mind you, a lot of people didn't know. Only my dad knew. A
Yeah.
lot of people didn't know.
You didn't tell anyone. Yeah.
Smart.
Smart.
You're on the news. You're on the news. Da, da, da. So I left Cleveland and got on the train to Oakland.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So you're going to California.
Yeah. Going to
Okay.
California.
Okay.
And I stayed in California for about 6 months.
Damn.
Left California. Talked to my lawyer. I got a lawyer. Talked
Okay.
to my lawyer. He said, hey, man, listen, we can get you 10. We can get you 10 years. It was because there wasn't a self-defense law. They didn't pass the castle doctrine. for
Yeah.
another year.
Stand your ground or whatever.
Wow.
They didn't pass that for another year. So I'm like, okay. So I come back to Columbus. Now, I wasn't turning myself in immediately, so I come back and I go to my family. I don't want to say her name.
You getting
but
your affairs in order?
yeah,
type
get
deal.
things in order. And what's wild is I see my brother walking up the street. I see my brother walking up the street. Mind you, I'm on a run. So I tell her, I say, hey, that's my brother. Go get him. Tell him to come here. I haven't talked to anybody. It's my brother. She goes, gets him, brings him to the house. Hey, I'm saying, I haven't seen you. Are you okay? The whole 9 yards. Now, my brain doesn't think that my brother's going to turn me in or anything because he's my brother.
Yeah.
Not only does he call the police and turns me in,
Wow.
he stole money from out of her purse.
Wow.
Yeah. This is what where the drugs come into play.
Addiction. Yeah.
So maybe a couple days later, the police and SWAT raid the house. I go to jail. This is in April.
What was the SWAT raid like?
It was crazy. It was wild because we were in bed. The way it's a half a double. We were in
Okay.
bed. They've torn it down since now, but we were upstairs and the room was in the front of the house, and there's 2 other bedrooms where the kids were,
Okay.
and we heard the banging. We heard the banging,
Yep.
and all I can remember clearly is her saying they're in the house. Now it was inherent to shoot, but I knew it was the police. Yeah, when they came in, they were the kids were stayed asleep because I didn't want them to
That
experience that.
sucks.
So I
Yeah,
kinda,
that's rough
Made it easy for
yeah,
him.
for the kids. Yeah.
try to get up out of there. But yeah,
So you just peacefully said,
yep, that was April, and I went to jail to the county in April,
okay.
and I stayed there for
April of
2004.
okay.
I stayed there until May of 2005.
Holy
Yeah, that's
fuck.
downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the big
A
boy.
May of
year
That's where you don't
of
wanna be.
county is brutal.
It's killer.
Brutal.
You're in there with like, because like they only
Everybody.
keep the like high profile, dangerous
Yep.
people at county, right? So you're in there and the
Everybody
insane
either
asylum.
fighting multiple felonious assaults or murders or federal charges or
Yeah.
rapes or
Big
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Big stuff.
yeah. Yeah, it was a
Holy
different animal.
shit.
So I stayed in there for a year, and that was wild because it's crazy, and it's not really my story, but I guess it's a facet of when I was in jail. My sister, the sister that's right above me, my mom's daughter, her kid's father, my nephew and niece's father, his brother was killed and murdered on February 22nd the year before. No, 2004.
Okay.
Who murdered his brother is, I've got a younger sister. Her brothers are who murdered his brother.
Okay.
So you know what I'm saying, just the closeness of it.
Yep.
So when I'm in jail with them. We're all in jail together.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah. So
You guys in the same tank?
Well, one of us was in the same tank and the other was in another tank.
All right. So how do you handle that?
Yeah, well, because you gotta keep in mind, like we grew up, them two, we grew up though as brothers. You know what I'm saying? As brothers.
But now,
I mean, now they're still my brother. I mean,
I mean,
they're still
yeah,
my brothers.
but they also have,
Yeah.
murdered
Murdered my sister's baby's dad's brother. So it's kind of like, yeah, a lot. So that whole year, mind you, we're in jail the whole time, but we're in jail on similar charges. They were sentenced to 12 years.
brothers.
yeah.
The brothers got 12.
12 years.
Okay.
They went on to prison, and maybe 6 months later, I was sentenced to 18 years.
And do you know during this year of sitting in jail, like how screwed you are? Is that going through your head?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going away for a long time.
Yeah. Now, there was that hope because while I was in jail, there was discussion of the Castle Doctrine.
Yeah.
So I had that hope, like, well, you know,
Hopefully, I can.
dude attacked me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I had that hope. Nah.
Didn't happen.
didn't
Didn't
happen.
happen.
When they told me that the deal was 18 years,
Oof.
it was unfathomable to me. I would have never took a deal for 18 years. My lawyer at the time, his name is what was his name? Not Jeremy. I'm gonna tell you his name in a second. The first,
So 18 years was the first deal.
Yeah. Well, no, I think it was like 26 or something like that. It was something outrageous, but the 18 years was outrageous to me as well.
Yeah.
But my lawyer's name, and I couldn't think of his name until just now. His name was Doug Funkhauser.
Okay.
Funkhauser.
Doug Funkhauser. He went to my mother and said, if Kamal does not take this deal, they're going to give him 46 years to life.
Yeah, because if you go to the box, you're screwed.
I don't know.
Well, right.
You know what I mean? At that time, I really don't know. With the
Yeah.
Castle Doctrine being in the courts, with that argument being, the self-defense argument being what it is, with it being on film, him jumping over the bar and attacking me, I just didn't know.
But do you want to? But the question is, do you want to gamble? Do you want to risk it?
At the time, I would have.
Really?
If it was just me,
Really?
oh yeah, I would have at the time.
And is he okay? So the tape, right? You've seen it. Is it clearly like it's obvious he's
Very clear.
attacking you?
Yeah, very
And is
clear.
he a white guy or a black guy?
White guy.
So that's like
Very clear.
that goes against you right
So-
there too.
When he
Yeah.
went to my mom
Yeah.
and said what he said, my mother came back to me in tears. And she said, Kamal, I'll be alive in 18 years.
Oh man,
I will not be here in 46 years.
that's coming from Mama.
It's a good point.
So that made it kind of easy.
It's a good point.
Made it kind of easy. Yeah, but that was my, that was that.
So that was essentially your mom is the reason you said okay,
Yeah.
because it makes sense.
Yeah, I wouldn't have, I couldn't imagine. So yeah, I took a deal for 18 years.
And
for
what? So
18
what?
years.
What was the? What were the charges officially?
Manslaughter and burglary.
That's what you
Damn.
pled out to.
Burglary. And the burglary was for an RSP from
The gun?
2000.
So that was
Oh.
old.
Yeah, old.
So they just threw it in the mix.
Yeah.
You ever resent your cousins for telling on you?
Yes.
Yeah. Even still?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I probably would.
Well, I can't say you know what, let me be honest. I can't say that I resent him or if I still do. It took a long time for me to understand that he's not the reason why I was in prison.
Yeah, the reason. Yeah,
He's not the reason why I was
Correct.
in prison. He may have accelerated, you know what I'm saying, some things, but he's not the reason why I'm in prison. Same thing with my brother. They weren't why I was like locked up. But I still, you know what I'm saying, that part of me,
Well, your actions are why you're locked up.
right.
But
right.
they just told.
Yeah. That part of me is still what it is. Like
Yeah.
I see my brother every other day.
Okay.
Man.
Yeah, and I tell my sister this a lot. That if he's my litmus test, if he's my bar, if he can't get me off of my square, out my hookup, or
Then nobody can.
nobody can. This like in real life. My cousin when I saw my cousin the first time, I've only seen him a couple times since I've been home. When I saw him for the first time, he was so afraid. It made me not feel bad, but it made me feel a type of way.
Yeah,
I get
yeah.
that,
Like
yeah.
I don't want you to be afraid of me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What's done is that, like, I can't.
It's over
if
with.
I do something to him, or you know what I mean, like I don't. That time is still there. My son's still. You know what I'm saying? I still wasn't there for 16 years, 17 years. You know what I'm saying? I still wasn't. So it doesn't change anything.
So you guys had that conversation of like,
Yeah, to some degree.
okay,
Because he knows. I know. I hope he knows. You know what I'm saying? Because we get discoveries.
He knows now if he doesn't.
Yeah.
man.
Jesus. Okay, so
Whole thing.
you go to do 8. You get sentenced to 18.
18 years.
What does that feel like?
Yeah, how do you prep for that?
when
You
when
don't.
the gavel hits or whatever?
It
you
wasn't
know,
real.
That
was not real.
It's out of body, completely out of body.
I was waiting to wake up.
Yeah.
Like it really wasn't real. Even as I say it to you right now, that wasn't. They could have threatened me with that kind of time, and I'd you know what I'm saying, tightened up.
God.
But yeah, no, it wasn't a real thing. I went to CRC and it wasn't a real thing.
You still were in denial.
It wasn't a real
I
thing.
bet that takes a minute
It
to
was not
fucking
real.
sink in.
Yeah, it wasn't. That wasn't a. It wasn't a authentic thing. I couldn't see me doing 18 years. What?
You get CRC. They do their thing.
Do
You
their
sit
thing.
there for what, a month?
Yeah, I was there 3 weeks a month. Yep,
Where
then
where'd they
shipped me
send you?
to
Where's your
Ross.
parent? Ross. Okay.
To Ross. And anybody would think like, oh my God, Ross. Everybody was there. Everybody was there. Everybody in my neighborhood that had been locked up
Oh.
was there. Ross was at level 3 at the time. And all the crimes that were being done in the Linden area where I grew up at were level 3 worthy. There weren't a lot of, you know what I'm saying, thefts and, you know what I'm saying, assaults going to prison.
Yeah, smaller stuff, so
You know
to
what I mean?
speak. Yeah.
So yeah, everybody was there. Like my brother was there. My little brother was there.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. 2 of my little, like, okay, so I'm going to toss some names out here, and I'm just going to say, some people that might be watching or come across might know their names, but I'm just saying, Tay, Maney, Obi, Quincy, like all 4 of these are my brothers, and they were all there at Ross when I got to Ross.
So they were immediately able to show you the ropes.
Not even show me the ropes, they were who they are. So when I came in, I didn't have to worry about a TV or food or shoes or, you know what I'm saying, just where I fit in, and it was like a easy
Automatic.
Yeah, you already
transition.
had that spot.
That's sweet. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not.
I
Sorry,
mean, as
sorry,
sweet
that's
as
not
prison
sweet.
can be.
As
You're-
best as it
sorry,
can be,
sorry,
yeah.
sorry. I said that so fucking nonchalantly,
Yes,
like you're not in prison. No, that's sweet.
No, but that's what it was. So when I came into Ross, that's kind of what it was. My first job was at the library. Like most guys get the kitchen or mopping or whatever it is, I went to the library, and that's how my bit started. The only thing that could have changed my time, the bit itself, was if somebody would have reminded me when I came in the door that I was going to leave. I wasn't reminded that I was going home. So when I came in, I didn't see me going home.
You didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, you just got
I'm here.
You just got a bid mode. You just
Yeah.
have to prepare yourself for,
18 years, I'm here.
that routine, that schedule. You're there.
hmm
God Almighty.
Yeah.
So what was Ross like? Because I know, and again, you got moved around during this
Yeah.
time. So tell us about Ross
So-
and what you saw. And
Now at Ross, by prison standards, Ross was sweet when I went there. Single man, well, it was double man cells. You know what I
Okay.
mean, two man cells, and it was what I thought prison would be for the remainder of prison. Thought it would
Is
be
it
like
lockdown or is it open? You can.
Well, mind you, this is 2004, 5, 6, 7. This is still smoking in prisons. This is still, you know what I mean, like
Okay.
canned goods and all that kind of stuff is still in prison. Weights and stuff. Well,
you
not
can
the
get
actual-
cigarettes on commissary?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, top and
Gotcha.
bugler and all
Yeah.
that
Nice,
stuff.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was still like the nature of what prison was. It wasn't like level 3 was locked down, but it wasn't like you had controlled movement, not lockdown. It was controlled movement, not like a level 2 or a level 1 where you can just like go
Free
outside.
roam, yeah.
But Ross was just, it was different. It's kind of like, I don't know if you've ever been to Lebanon or Warren. but it's the build or CRC. It's built like CRC.
Okay.
They were built all at the same time.
Okay.
Those camps. But the stuff I saw, like Ross ingrained a lot of my prison experience.
I was
the first 7 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there anything that happened at Ross that you saw? That,
First time I saw somebody get killed
tell me about
at
it.
Ross was when a dude got stabbed in the neck. I'm just tell you the story real quick. It's two guys. They were in a cell together. One's name is Mr. Hall.
Okay.
Mr. Hall. I remember his name because my mother's maiden last name is Hall.
Okay.
Mr. Hall was doing triple life.
Jesus.
So I was doing triple life. He's at Ross. He got from
So
Lebanon,
homeboy's got nothing to lose.
at all, except for, you know what I'm saying, the liberties, the comfort of what prison can bring him. So Mr. Hall, he's doing triple life. He's got a young man out of Cleveland. He was going home in 3, maybe 2 months.
Oh God.
Something happened in the cell where they both went to the hole. The dude lost a lot of his stuff. So Mr. Hall goes and moves. So I was in 3B. Mr. Hall was in the door with me. He's coming over telling Mr. Hall, you owe me, you got to give me my stuff, I'm going to fuck you up, going through this thing. Mr. Hall, hey, man, leave me alone. Leave me be, leave me alone, leave me be.
Telling the young kid this who's
Yeah.
got 2 months left.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Mr. Hall goes outside for some reason. Little dude jump on him. Mr. Hall older. He's like maybe 50 at the time.
Dude
So-
started it.
Yeah. No, you have no idea. So all this goes by. Maybe 2 days later, Mr. Hall comes in the block and he tapes the knife to his hand. Goes up to the rec yard. We all at rec. Dude run up on him. He punch him in the face. He whooping on him until he started getting stabbed and he got him in his neck.
Damn.
And the blood spurting out his neck. And he holding his neck and he's looking at the CO and he has the CO. He say, hey, am I going to die? And the CO looked at him and said, yeah.
Oh, man.
And that boy died right there on the yard.
You heard that.
Yeah.
You saw that.
Yeah. Like, see, it was our rec time. You know what I'm saying? It's
You
control
heard
movement.
the CO say yes.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Man.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
I wasn't the only person that heard it. This is a story that.
No, I
at
believe
Ross.
you. That's just
Yeah.
that's incredible that a CO would, like, he's bleeding out of his neck. He's just been stabbed. Am I gonna die? And the CO says yes.
They weren't they weren't gonna get it to him in time and
How long before he was gone?
minutes.
Jeez.
It was minutes. Yeah, and what's wild, I guess the wildest part of that story, and I tell it because the wildest part of the story is later that day, I remember going to the table and playing poker.
Just like it was another day.
Jesus.
Playing poker. Yep.
Man.
It was crazy. I've seen a lot of stuff at Ross. That was the first time I'd ever heard a lock hit somebody's head.
Oh, that noise, man.
That noise is a very different.
Yeah.
Like it puts you in mind of a melon, like a melon, but it's a noise you just don't.
What, the lock and the sock?
Yeah.
Yeah, or on a belt, or whatever. It was on a belt in this case.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Over
I'm not sure. Probably poker.
where
Some
at?
dumb shit.
Some worse
Yeah.
shit.
where
At
that
Ross?
where but like where did
In
that
the day
happen?
room.
In the day room?
Oh yeah.
Dude just came out with the belt and lock
Yeah.
and fucking
Slapped him upside the head, and and about 2-3 times. It was yeah. Yeah, I seen a
Jeez,
dude.
man.
I was at Ross when there was a guy that killed. It was a dog handler, and the dog kept barking at this guy, and the guy told him, "Hey man, get your dog." And the dog kept barking. He ended up killing him because of
the
his
dog.
dog. Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah. The CO Lansing that got killed over Christmas.
Yeah.
Like he was a CO there when I was there.
Really?
Yeah. There was a lot of it's the nature back then when I was there was the COs would take off their belts and you get the C-section. It was called C-section back then, in between the blocks, and you can get in it with the COs. And you go
Oh,
back
the
to
COs will go?
yeah, you get it in. You get whooped or they get whooped, whatever it was. And you go back to your cell and
And then
move
going
on
about
about
your
it.
business.
You ever
When
seen
am I going
you
to
ever seen one of those?
Oh yeah, man. I was a kid. I loved fighting. I wish a CO
you fought
would.
a CO?
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Man, listen, I remember the first CO I whooped on, he ended up coming back and sending me to the hole.
So so you get into it with a CO
Mhm.
and you're like, all right, like you want to be about did you
No,
like,
they would normally initiate it, or I would say something like, we can get the C-section. You know what I mean? Like, we ain't got to go through all of the,
yeah, we don't got to talk.
we ain't
just-
got to do none
just-
of that.
We can just do
And
this.
some of them would go, some of them wouldn't. Some of them wouldn't. What's that dude's name? His name started with a D. Anyways, he ended up getting me and ended up writing me in for Rule 8, issuing threats.
Did you get him?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
then
shouldn't have said
and
that
then
like that.
and then he sent your
I
ass.
work in a prison right
and
now.
then yeah. But then he sent you to the hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
they
you
used to
knew.
call him
You knew.
Decon.
You knew was coming.
Yeah, they used to call him Decon. I'm just now saying Ratman's name. Call him Decon. That's funny.
Wow.
But yeah, that was like the nature of Ross back then.
That is
Yeah.
wild.
So it's like it's the jungle essentially,
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
See,
it's-
Ross was back then. It was that. It was on the floor. It was a Lancaster level 3s for real. You went there and because it's 2 sides. Then they lowered one side to a level 2 and ended up going to the level 2 side. But yeah, Ross was a different animal.
Wow.
I stayed there for a while, and I know working at like the library, commissary, and then about OPI. Working at the wood shop, they had a wood like a furniture shop. They had
What's
a whole
OPI?
scandal. The Ohio Penal Industries.
Okay.
Yeah, they had a whole scandal.
Okay.
We used to make the furniture, and they was a contract they had with OPI to get all the furniture for the government offices because we made desks and office furniture. They had to buy it from OPI, the
Okay.
state. It was just, the big circle of commerce
Sure,
that the state
sure.
uses. So at some point, some of the offices went outside of OPI and bought like $600 trash cans and $15,000 desks and all this kind of stuff. So they kind of like shut down that part of OPI,
Yeah.
the whole scandal. Hence me moving to Pickaway for they had a meat slaughtering, like a meat packing plant.
Okay.
So I go to I leave Ross. By this time, I'm kind of like everything's calmed down.
Were you like thrilled to leave Ross?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
you
But
go from 3 to 1.
see, it's
like-
wild because I was excited to get up out of. I was a 2 at the time. I got from 3 to a 2, and I was still in the cell, and it was still Ross.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to get to the next. You know what I'm saying?
Next step,
Next step to going home.
so to speak. Yeah.
Even at this point in time, I didn't really look at it as going home. It was like just the next part of my bit.
yeah.
I go down to Pickaway, and they put me in the basement in D unit, and it was crazy. And I'd never, ever been in a space like that. I'd never been in a
What's
place.
it like though? You say the basement. What's that?
Like-
What's that like? What's it mean? How
When
do you?
I remember saying to you, I grew up on Kenmore. And in the basement, you got like exposed rafters, the pipes, and you know what I'm saying?
Gotcha. Okay. Yep.
That kind of basement. But
Okay.
mind you, the buildings are 150, 200 years old.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like seriously, like not like the stone steps have such deep divots in them when you from you know what I'm saying, 2 centuries of people walking up
Yeah,
and down them.
of course.
Extremely old. So they moved me into the basement when I went to Pickaway, and I couldn't live in that basement. It just was what it was. The hole was better than the basement.
Really?
Like it was a newer building. It was a new building, like a new build. So long short, I go and I let them know I wasn't gonna live in a hole because live in a basement.
And that's day 1.
Yeah, day one.
Day
This
one.
is day
You
one.
said I'm not doing this shit.
Yeah, I'm not doing that shit. Like off top. So you can't do these, and then they tell me everything I couldn't do, and I was just being really legit. I said, you have to move me because I worked really hard at not being who I used to be, and who I'll have to be in that basement. You don't want in the basement. You don't want that guy that I've grown so far
Yeah.
from.
Trust me. You
Down there,
Yeah.
what you know what I'm saying? You know the element. You know what I'm saying? You know what's going on. Mind you, this is I'm really like no tickets, no, like I'm trying to. 2010 is after 6-7 years. They put me in a hole. So they say, okay, you don't want
Well,
to
I
the
mean,
basement?
yeah.
You go to the hole. So I put me in a hole, and I'm thinking I'll be in a hole for a couple weeks, and they'll ship me back to Ross or something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. Nope, they put me in over 5 months
And the hole.
in a hole. 5 months.
Holy
And
shit.
then they classed me to Lebanon. Now,
So you back up to 3?
All right.
yeah.
Okay.
Hold
Up my
on.
level.
Hold on. Before Leb, 5 months straight in the hole.
Yeah.
Tell
hold
me
on.
about what this does to your psyche.
Hold on. That's the minimal. That's the least part. Mind you, during the 5 months in the hole, they introduced what's called the turkey patty
Oh, God.
into the meal.
Yeah.
Now, in the hole, you don't have commissary. You can buy food where you can just like not eat the stuff.
Right.
So I'm sitting there. I'm looking like. So I lost a lot of weight in the hole because
You
they had
had
turkey
to eat
patties
the
a lot.
That
Is,
fucking
yep.
turkey patty.
With this, there's no barber, so I'm looking,
Crazy.
crazy. And this is in 2010.
Okay.
This is August-ish of 2010. My mother still hadn't been to see me because she could not bring herself to see me.
Sure.
August 2010. She knew where I was. She knew the institution I was in. She knew I was in a hole because they had introduced JPay, where you could write and it scans.
Yep.
So she decided to come see me. And this is the first time my mother had seen me since I was in court,
Man,
Since you
years
got
back.
sentenced.
since I was sentenced.
And we're talking, what, 6 years later?
So my mom walks, she comes in and they
You're
say,
looking
well,
like
you got to
a-
wait and make her take the underwear out my mom's bra and go get a t-shirt because she had a strap on or a blouse. And you know what I'm saying? They took her through all these measures. When she does see me, I'm walking up to my mother in an all white jumpsuit, ankle chains, belt chain, like I'm shackled, belt
The
chain,
whole deal.
and I'm cuffed to my belt.
Yep.
Hair looks crazy.
Wait, animal
My
lecture.
complexion is, you know what I'm saying, all blotchy because I haven't been outside in 5 months. This is the first time my mother sees me. And that was the mind fuck. That was I need for her to know I'm okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Something has to, I can't do this. That was the switch flip.
Okay.
Yeah. So that, I mean, just dealing with the being on the floor, they didn't have enough beds. So, you know, a hole has 2 bunks. They were overpopulated. So they got mats and boats, you know, the boats
Yep.
on the floor.
Yep.
So there's 4 or 5 guys in each cell.
And Pickaway is notorious for not having air conditioner.
Bigaway's notorious for just being old
Yeah,
and raggedy
it's an
and
old.
corrupt.
'Cause I think they were like old, like World War I army
Yeah.
barracks at one point.
Pickaway and Orient.
Yeah,
They were all one.
that's right.
they were
So
all
you're
one
just
unit,
stuck
yeah.
in this hole for
Yeah.
whatever during the summer, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So it was crazy. That was crazy.
So when mom comes to see you is when you a switch flips and you're like, all right,
Yeah.
let me,
Do something different.
yeah.
I need to do something different. So at this time, I'm figuring out that I'm going to Lebanon. I have no idea what to expect at Lebanon. You know, if you're in prison, you just ask a lot of questions to a lot of guys that
Right,
may have
yeah.
made
What's
it.
lab like?
Yeah, and they're like,
What do
oh
I
my
expect?
goodness, there's the roaches and the rats and the COs and all of it was true. It was all true. Lebanon is probably it's worse than Pickaway. It's Pickaway with cells. I don't understand how it's still, you know what I mean, how they keep people in there. Yeah, Lebanon was horrible, but I was only there for a year. I didn't get into any shit. I didn't get into any.
No.
Kept your head down
Kept your
for a
head
year.
down.
It really wasn't. I just played Scrabble. The movement. Seriously, the movement is so restrictive.
So
Like,
you just played Scrabble?
I just played Scrabble. I
Okay,
went
cool.
outside. And you don't play basketball because there's so much aggression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's
yeah.
so much
that
aggression.
turns into
like
a fight
it turns into something
quick.
every time. So I
Yep.
didn't play basketball. I wasn't going to stay there, so I didn't like apply for like a job at OPI or something like that. I just worked on music. I listened to music and I played Scrabble and I read books and I talked to, you know what I'm saying, family. Like seriously, it was a real live box that I was in for
Yeah.
a year. But I didn't get, like, it wasn't like tepid one way or the other. It just was that.
Well, that's good. That's progress.
Yeah, until I could leave. So
Yeah.
I left and they sent me back to Ross.
Great.
Yep, sent me back to Ross. But I was only at Ross for 1 year. And it was like, yeah, a rule 8, you know what I mean? So they dropped me down to a level 1.
Okay.
And I left there and went to Madison.
Okay.
This is 2012, almost 13.
You know C.O. Howard?
I do know a Howard.
Do you know C.O. Downey?
Downey, yes.
Yeah, I worked at both of them.
Yeah, Howard and Downey. Yeah.
How was Downey in Madison?
I'm not sure. See,
Downey's like my guy.
yeah, I would
really
say they're
liked him.
they're not pronounced in my head, so I would dare say that they're not. You know what I mean, like problematic people.
Yeah.
The people I remember most
It doesn't
are,
stick out. is
yeah,
what
are
you're
the
saying.
the extremely
Gotcha.
human ones, the extremely human people, and the people that were not.
Okay.
Those are the ones that stick out. But when I got to Madison, the law changed. It's 2012 to 2013 to include me in judicial release
Okay.
because I wasn't eligible for judicial release before then. So that's when I'm sitting back saying I can go home. I can go home.
How
Like
many years you in now? 8?
at this time, I'm in about 8, 9 years, almost 10 years. Yeah, almost 10 years, 8, 9 years.
Decade.
Yeah. So when I start to look at it, I'm thinking, okay, well, this might be a win. You know what I'm saying? Like I might be able to get it home. Then I got to looking at my record in prison. I'm like, yeah, that probably won't happen. You know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't have been eligible for, you know what I'm saying, a number of years anyways, but the possibility came about. I'd grown up a little bit in prison because, you know, you have no choice. You know what I'm saying? It's either be part of the ruckus or not. And then it's not really a gray area. You really can't dibble in and dabble
One or
out.
the other.
It's one or the other. You're in the mix or you're not in the mix. So I decided to kind of like not be in a mix, the prison mix.
Yeah.
And I just, I mean, I started to just read a little more and pay attention to people a little bit more. Started to look at who I was a little bit more. And that was just off of my own volition. But I want to say the catalyst or the thing that really changed or shifted my thought process was a phone call to my dad. I'm talking to him, and I was talking with my sister. My sister's name is Yami. We're a year apart, so we're like before I like this.
Yep.
And I hadn't heard from her. Hadn't come to see me. Now I would talk to her maybe once or twice a year. And he's talking about it. I got to complaining. I'm like, hey man, you know, this is some bullshit. You know, he said, hey man, hold on, wait a minute. He said, you didn't invite us to come to prison with you. You took us with you. She's got to do this the way she knows how to do it.
Yep.
That changed my thought process.
Yeah. Your
That
perception.
to the degree where I started to look at everybody, like every person, a little differently. Now I didn't have a word for it because I didn't know there was a word for it. But I started to understand that everybody has a different experience. Like this, my being in prison was different for everybody. Like my mother handled that differently. My dad handled it. You know what I'm saying? My kids, you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking like how it really affected them.
Yeah.
Just from their own experience. You know what I'm saying? Like my son, I was talking to my son the other day and I'm telling him like, I can't give you the traditional answers because you grew up with me in prison and I grew in prison while you were out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's not a traditional dynamic. I don't understand your perspective so much. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't. My dad was there. You know what I'm saying? My mom was there in whatever capacity it was, they were there. So yeah. Yeah.
That phone call really woke you up.
Yeah. It changed a lot. A lot. Everything. It changed everything, honestly. That was a year that I think that the prison and that whole existence kind of put me into a depression. That was in a really dark space in 2013.
So how does that change? What do you do differently from there? What changes for you after that phone call in prison? And I know
really,
judicial is on the table now.
Right,
so.
it's a thought. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But I guess what changed is that it's the grace. I kind of felt that my people they needed some grace for my experience, for me to think that they understood my experience was unfair.
Yeah, I mean, because you did it.
No, but I'm saying for me to think that they understand.
Got you.
Yeah.
Is unfair. I know now, like now I sit here today, I can tell you right now that after hearing your story, I can understand and that I empathize, but there's no way that I can understand.
Right.
Because I didn't grow up the same way you grew up. There could be one shift or one change, and if you had two siblings or one. You know what I'm saying? If your mom was a single parent or if you had both parents in the house.
Mm-hmm.
If you know what I'm saying, we could both be in prison right now sitting in the same up and down bunk and the same day, the same age from the same city, but one little instance can be different and the entire experience is different.
Yeah.
But it took me, like, that's when I started to pick up on that.
Okay.
And so I wanted to know more about it. I wanted to learn more about, you know what I'm saying, what it is that I have in effect, you know what I'm saying, put my people in. You know what I'm saying? What did I not give them a choice to participate in? Because
Right.
that didn't give them a choice to participate with me in prison. So, yeah.
Well, take us to judicial.
That process. 2015.
So this is what you said, 13.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a whole 2 years
years
later.
later.
2 years later.
Before it's on.
2013, I was in Madison. They ended up moving me to there's two sides to Madison as well. They moved me to the other side of Madison, the level 1, like A side. And they approached me because at this time I'm in my, it's 2013, I'm in my 30s. You know what I mean, like 30, in my mid 30s. So I'm talking to younger guys. There's a lot of younger guys going there. And then this was a sex offender institution. They had a SORT program there. So you know what I'm saying? I just displayed the non-judgmental,
I
graceful
was gonna
space.
say, yeah, that
Yeah.
normally is.
It's usually a hell of a thing. You know what I'm saying? When I first was locked up, that was
That shit doesn't fly ever.
yeah, it was a situation.
Ever.
But the more I was in there, I'm sitting back saying, I'm not going to change him. If I punch on him, I'm not going to change him.
It's insane because so technically I've been to prison, but not really. But I've been to the county plenty of times, and I know with sex offenders how it goes, right? So I spent all my time locked up learning that sex offenders, that shit doesn't fly,
Right.
right? Someone's jumping them, they're getting their ass beat, whatever. When I ended up working in corrections, which did happen, we had a unit that was sex offenders. And I found myself not visiting that unit almost ever because of that previous thought that shit doesn't fly.
Right.
And it's like I couldn't get it out of my fucking head.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I do. I know exactly what you mean.
Like, so I just stayed away as a CO.
Huh.
Like, it wasn't my unit.
Right.
There was a point where I was like security, so I could float across the entire facility, and I stayed away because of previous instances and what I'd learned.
It's the connotations that come along with it as well.
Yeah.
I guess that's what the thing was for me, is the graceful space to find. You know what I'm saying? I just found myself not so much not judging them because I'm human.
Mm-hmm.
I'm human.
Yep.
But not letting that interfere with what I was doing.
Yeah.
So the institution kind of saw that, and they asked, they had say, hey, we're thinking about a therapeutic community here. What you think? It might be a good thing. Now, mind you, I wasn't dealing with an active usage issue. I wasn't dealing with you know what I'm saying? I wasn't in that space.
Right.
So I wanted to know more about it, and it was more of a cognitive program.
Yep.
But it addressed substance abuse and
Yep.
addressed, you know what I'm saying, cognitive issues. So I was all for it. All for it. This is 2013, 14. So we did some studying. It's this thing called a Big Red Book. I studied this Big Red Book. It's the most boring book I've ever read in my life. It's horrible. It is, but it's really fruitful. It's got all the it's got really good information in it.
Good
but
shit. Yeah.
It's I'm about to take a nap book. Like, we're definitely taking a nap after this. Long short, me and 7 other guys, we came up with a program called Vista Therapeutic Community.
You created this.
We created this. My guy Dwayne Dunbar, I'm not if you're familiar with him. He's got a program called International. It's never too late.
Love that.
He wrote the what's it called, the pledge. Or
Yeah.
whatever it may be,
Yeah.
which was pretty dope. But yeah, we got it. We started it up in 2013, 14, 15. We had full enrollment, and it's been going since then. And it's a really in-depth IOP, like in-depth, in-person
Program.
cognitive program
In
that
prison.
addresses substance abuse and mental health. When we started that, it was really good. It flourished. I graduated from that space, and 2015, 16, I got into discussions about judicial release.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking this could be really helpful. But in the process of starting Vista, there were just things that Vista needed. So I started to reach outside of the institution because, as we all know, there's so many barricades and blockades inside of the institution for resources.
Red tape
everywhere. So I reached outside of the institution to a whole host of people. And I say maybe 100 people. On different issues, on different resources, but the responses were really helpful. I got responses from Wendy Tarr from ARC Ministries, from Shannon Harden.
I know Wendy.
Yeah, from Shannon Harden of the City Council, from Vanita,
I know
so many
Vanita
people.
too.
Roxanne, Nick Emmons, you know what I'm saying, from DRC. Like, just these people were so responsive to being helpful with what Vista looked like.
Okay.
And in that same sense, they were really interested in what my story was and how it was to, you know what I'm saying, get me into the community to, you know what I'm saying, do this here.
Yeah.
So those opportunities came about, and the first time I filed for judicial release, my judge told my lawyer, nope, never gonna let him go. There was a life lost in this, and yeah, no, I'll never let him out early. Not happening.
Really?
Yep, paid him $5,000.
Just to tell you no.
Tell me no.
Jeez.
Fuck.
My lawyer, though, her name is Catherine Memsick. She was working for for a lawyer named Jeremy Dodgen, who's my lawyer now.
Okay.
Jeremy Dodgen. She was working with Jeremy Dodgen, and Jeremy sent me a list to fill out things, and I'd already filled out a judicial release form, like a memorandum. So I sent that to him. He said, "Hey, man, this is kind of dope, man. Like, it just ain't got my name on it." So I looked at it. I'm like, okay. So he got the motion to Catherine. Catherine submits it. They deny it. So she calls me. I'm at work. I worked at the garage. I washed cars and changed oil and all that stuff. At
Oh,
Madison.
really? Okay.
So they called me at work. Hey, you need to call your lawyer. I knew the judicial release was in. I'm like, okay, let's hope it's good.
Here we go.
And she's boo-hooing, crying. This is my lawyer. Crying like, you know what I'm saying, the puppy got hit by a car. I'm saying like, oh my goodness. So I'm consoling her like, okay, it's cool. No worries. We took a shot.
You're
It's all
consoling
good.
her.
I'm consoling my
That's
lawyer at this
crazy.
time. She'll tell you the story too. She's awesome. She's so dope.
That's crazy.
So what it is that she was just feeling some type of way about it, man. So she went to my judge. She said, hey, listen, talk to him. Just talk to him. He's like, nah, ain't happening. You know what I'm saying? Skibbity-doo. So she said, listen, man, this dude, you need to let go. When I tell you she argued up and down, through and through, you know what I'm saying? It's that
She
and third.
fought. She really
Fought.
fought for you.
When I say fought.
War.
So he says to her, okay, listen, I'll let him go if, you know what I'm saying, ... you know what I'm saying, if he likes the motion, it's that and the third. Tell him to file in November. Okay. May, she tells me this in May. August, mind you, I work outside in the garage. This is, May is when the pandemic hit.
Oh.
Oh,
Hits.
no.
Yes. Pandemic is everybody's locked down, everybody's coughing, sneezing, dying.
Fuck.
Crazy work.
How bad was it? How bad was COVID in the prisons since you lived through it?
When it first hit the prisons, it was kind of like people thought it was gonna be, because you know it's a lot of illness and ailment inside of there.
Yeah.
People thought it was about to go down, like it was about to be just body bags, you know what I'm saying, all over
Everywhere.
the place. To be
Yeah.
honest, but that wasn't the case. But people did get really sick, and it spread really fast because you know what I mean. It's a petri dish. It's a petri
It
dish.
literally is.
Seriously.
Yeah.
So I missed the COVID. I'm still outside washing cars, doing the garage thing. I get shaken down by, I'm not gonna say his name because he probably still works with DRC.
Okay.
I get shaken down by a case manager. Yeah, case manager. He's a unit manager.
Interesting.
I want to say his name so bad, but he finds hand sanitizer, and he takes me to the hole for having hand sanitizer. Mind you, this is in the midst of COVID. This
Why?
is in August.
Because
I'm not supposed to have hand.
You can
Yeah.
drink it.
Drink it or
and-
something like that.
Yep.
I'm not supposed to have hand sanitizer. And I work inside the fence.
Yep.
So they're saying you obviously got it from outside the fence.
Right.
But mind you, it's a bottle as big as this water bottle. And they
Okay.
strip searches every day coming in. Yeah. Anywho. So they take me to the hole for the hand sanitizer while I've got this judicial release motion in. So I'm nervous. I'm saying like this is some bullshit.
You're
So
like, fuck.
Bad
Bad
my lawyer.
timing.
I'm only in there for a couple days. So the day before I leave, because they really shouldn't have had me locked up, I was in there under investigation. They put somebody in my cell that had COVID. So when I get out, they let me back to my normal block. And I go to the normal block, and maybe 20 minutes later, they come running in about 8 COs. You got to come with us. You got to come with us. For what? I'm out. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Take me over to a dorm that they had for COVID. It was a COVID dorm.
Yeah.
That is where I caught COVID in prison. Yeah, it was heavy. It was heavy. I didn't get really, really sick. Like that first day, I was really sick, but after that, it was kind of like I ate fireballs the whole time.
Yeah.
And I kind of got over it. It was like a bad flu. But the issue was I was afraid that I wasn't going to get my judicial release.
Of course.
Not the
That's
case.
the thing on your mind.
Yeah, that wasn't the case. So November comes along. My lawyer puts it in because this is after the election.
Did you get the ticket for that? Or
Yeah.
okay, so
Yeah,
you still
give me
got the ticket.
Give me
Okay.
a ticket for contraband. I went to court on December 2nd. My birthday is December 1st.
Okay.
I went to court December 2nd, which is my son's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Go in the courtroom, everything's what it is. And the prosecutor makes his argument. and then my lawyer, makes her argument, and then the people that want to speak, they come up and speak. My son, my niece, my mom, my dad, my brother, like they came up and
Oh wow.
pronounced. Yeah, it was packed. It was there. Before the judge even like said you granted, you can go home, whatever. The prosecutor come over and shook my hand. He said, "Man, good luck and congratulations."
Damn.
Good luck and congratulations. So, I was waiting to go home. I was going home. Judge granted my judicial release. I'm getting up out of here.
So you come back down to the county. Right?
I'm at the workhouse.
Yep.
I'm down to the workhouse, and hey, you gonna eat that old school? No, I'm
Nah,
not.
I'm
eating
going
that.
home,
Get this out of my
baby.
face. I'm
Yeah.
ready to scram, get out of here. So I'm waiting, and 6 o'clock come by. I should have been gone at 3. 6 o'clock come by, and I'm concerned. 7 o'clock come. I'm calling my lawyer.
Sounds like the workhouse.
Hey, what's going on? My lawyer's like, I don't know. Let me figure it out. So I'm banging on. Hey, what's going on? They're supposed to let me go. He says, you got a warrant.
Oh, what?
What? From 2018.
While you were locked up.
What?
For what?
A traffic warrant.
Traffic as in driving?
As in driving. So I said, I don't want to seem like I'm being a smart ass, but we both know that's obviously not me, right? Like we can both say like that's. So I'm not sure who you need to call because that's obviously not me. Oh, I know, man, but I just go by it. So I call my lawyer. She's livid. She loses her shit. Goes finds out why I have the warrant. I have the warrant because my sister's baby dad, they was together forever, got pulled over in 2018, used my name because I was locked up.
Yeah.
Used my name and my social security number and yeah.
Never went to court.
Never went to court. Had a warrant. So I got out December 3rd.
Wow.
The next day. So
The
did you have
next
to go to
day.
court for that?
No, I didn't have to go
they
to court.
took care
they
of
took
it.
care of it. My lawyer and them took care
But
of
that
it.
still's got to feel like the longest 24 hours of your life, right?
I was livid. Mind you, my son's name is Kamal Sahr Jr. So I'm calling my son. What
What'd you
ticket
do?
have you gotten?
What'd
You know what I'm
you
saying that you
do?
didn't
You
pay,
kidding
man?
me,
What
right?
he said, Dad, I ain't got no ticket, man. That's not me. Dude, it's just me and you. There's nobody. No, I didn't do it. It wasn't him.
Damn.
So, yeah. So I got out December 3rd. That was crazy. That was some crazy work. But it was I prepared the whole time that I was locked up, you know what I'm saying, from 2015-ish, 2013-ish until I got out to get out. I'm talking about prepared to the degree where I couldn't think of anything that I'd missed.
Mm-hmm.
And in reality, I was looking at the DRC's reentry efforts, and yeah, there was nothing that I'd missed.
So you just done, what, 15, 16 out of the 18?
16 years, 9 months.
Okay, out of the 18.
Out of the 18.
Brother.
Yeah.
That's insane. So, and then the world changes while you're
Yeah.
gone
that too.
big time, bud.
16 years, 9 months. It was amazing. It was crazy because when I got home, it didn't feel like I was gone that long.
Yeah. Tell us about that. The
It
first
didn't feel
day
like
you got out.
It didn't. When I saw my dad, he looked like he looked when I left.
Damn.
The conversation wasn't he like, oh my God, you're home. It was just a hey, how you doing? It was a very normal conversation. They had something to eat in the kitchen. It was very normal. The people that made it seem like I had just gotten home were people like that were like friends of mine that I hadn't seen in a long time. My family, it was very, you know what I'm saying, hey, what you want to eat? What size shoes?
So what's
you know what I'm
the
saying?
first post-prison meal?
Oh man, there really isn't a post prison meal, but I can't remember what the first thing I ate.
Damn.
I can't remember because there wasn't like a what do I eat? I kept thinking about what kind of bed would I get. And then I was thinking, I've been laying on this thing for
On this
17
fucking-
years.
yeah.
It really doesn't matter what kind of bed I get. That's what I was thinking. But I'm not gonna say it didn't feel like I'd been gone. It just wasn't what I expected it to be.
Like you were like kind of expecting like the clouds parting, like this
Well, I
grand
just thought I
feeling
would
of
feel
freedom.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I would feel like there would be this lightning bolt of I'm free. And,
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Or like see so many like this is so new and so different. Like structures were different. You know what I'm saying? But when
I mean,
wrote down,
but even still, though, technology had changed massively while you were gone.
But the plus was that they introduced the tablets.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
They introduced the tablets. So the tablets were like flat screen cell phones.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When they introduced the tablets, I just, you know what I'm saying, you go through that, you start to see what icon, like the return or go back or scroll. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because that's all it is. Now, the websites and thing, like, it took me a while to like navigate, but the use of, you know what I'm saying, technology, I kind of felt like I was on par to some degree.
Caught
I never
up
was a
to us,
video
yeah.
game guy, so I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
really worry about that. But the biggest thing was that when I left, I like I said, I felt prepared. I felt ready. I didn't see gaps in my plan. I felt like I addressed them all, and I didn't. I didn't address the biggest thing was my mental health. I didn't think that prison had affected me the way that prison had. I didn't think that prison was a traumatic experience the way it's written about, because the people that wrote those books didn't have the experience. How could they know it was a traumatic experience?
After you've just shared watching a guy bleed out on the yard and
So
guys getting killed and
Listen, this is what I express to my guys now, because in real life, I tell my guys now, when you got a dude 2 bunks down, get the shit slapped out of him because he didn't pay dude them 2 honey buns, that's not normal.
Yeah. And like just a basic fight, when you hear somebody like screaming like
Yeah,
that, like
no, but,
guttural
like,
scream.
It's not normal. They really like, it's really difficult while you're in the midst of prison to understand that what you're in is not normal.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, people really don't get the shit slapped out of them for 85
dude,
cents.
it's crazy. It's
Yeah, I mean,
crazy. And again, I can't talk about prison, but even in the county, you're right. Like, that shit to us became normal
right.
because we had gone through it so many times. But it's like a completely different world. It's
Yeah.
a whole
world.
environment.
It's not
crazy.
normal.
It's fucking crazy.
To live in a 2.4 cubic square foot box.
Yeah.
Is
2.4,
not normal.
To fight someone over a fucking honey bun is nuts.
It's not. So when it's difficult to separate that.
Like, think about that on the street.
Yeah, that's my example to him. It's difficult to separate that from in prison and out. When you sit back and you look at it, you can't. The proximity issues. I didn't realize I had proximity issues until I had an issue with somebody being like worried that close to me. In prison, it's a known thing.
Yeah.
If I'm too close to you, you look back at me like, what the fuck you that close to me for?
Yeah.
My brain says, I understand where I am. Let me back up. My bad, bro. I didn't realize I was as close as I was.
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
Yeah.
I look at him, oh, my bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Here in you know what I'm saying, the real regular world, in the communal society, there is no proximity issue type thing. Like,
No.
if you need to be, if it's raining outside, they squeezing in.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't care that you've been to prison and you don't like people that close to you, and you don't. That's not a thing. Like I was saying earlier, it's not like I have a jacket on that says I've been to prison.
Yeah.
When you leave prison, you think that you have a jacket on that says I've been to prison. You think
Yeah.
that everybody can see prison on you.
And I feel like it never leaves, and it's crazy. Like, my shit's sealed. I just had it expunged. It's the only reason I got the job I have, but I still walk in there every day and have that imposter syndrome of, like, I'm an addict, I'm an ex-con, like, and it just doesn't leave. Like, it doesn't. It's better. It's better.
Yeah.
And, dude, I've been sober almost 9 years. It's better, but, like, it's still there.
You know, when I walk into the institution, the first time I went in for the interview, I had an anxiety attack.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
hold
yeah.
on. So, you got out,
Yeah,
right?
got out.
You got out.
Yep.
And
got
you
home.
got to figure out, okay, now what am I going to do?
Right. I had a plan.
Okay. And tell us about it.
Okay, so my plan was get all the pertinence: birth certificate, social security card, bank account, driver's license.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Go through that.
Credit,
Credit,
all that
all that kind of
car,
stuff.
place
Go
to
through that.
live, all that good shit. Yep.
Now, mind you, I didn't come out to a relationship. Like, I didn't come out to a wife or a girlfriend. So
Sure.
it was just me
Sure.
and my mom, dad, sisters, brothers. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. But you had support.
Yeah.
A lot of
my
people
support
don't
network-
have that, bro.
Listen, my support network is unrivaled.
Yeah.
I promise you.
Yeah.
So when I came home, I got a car, got my license, got, you know what I'm saying, all these things available. My mom helped me get a car.
Sure.
My mom helped me get a car. My dad, my parents are like that business. So I got a job at Honda up in Marysville.
Nice. Okay.
This is December. I was home. I got home December 3rd. I was there
And
maybe
then-
December 15th or
Wow.
16th.
Got
I
a
was
job
at Honda.
already.
Yep. At Honda.
Okay.
I had never seen my PO. I didn't see my PO for another year.
How long you on parole for now?
I was on for maybe 14 months, 15
Okay,
months.
so the
They let
rest
me
of
off
your
early.
bid. Okay.
You know, they let me off early. I
Okay.
was supposed to be on for 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I was on for like maybe 14, 15 months.
Okay.
But like everything seemed to be going right. I bought me a little Explorer. I'm driving to and from Marysville, running into people that haven't seen me. They love me, want to be around me. I've got standards and
Yeah.
and you know what I'm saying, I've got bars that I don't cross, and you know what I mean, this is what it is.
You're
And
free.
That's what it was.
You've
And I
got your
felt-
routine.
Yeah,
You're feeling
it was good.
good.
the the thing that initially got it was my time management. I didn't realize how to manage my time because I never had to for the past,
No.
almost 17
Yeah,
years.
no,
The time I did
They
manage
managed
was in
it. They
increments.
managed the shit for you.
Right, yeah, and between 8:30 and 7:30, I knew where I would be.
Yeah.
I knew what I would do. I could do some homework. I could watch TV. You know what I'm saying? It was like I didn't have to manage my time.
Yeah.
The time management kind of caught me. Okay, so I had to pay a little closer attention. But what told me that I needed to get some help was how easily I was overwhelmed. I would go to the store. I went to the store to buy some melatonin to try and get some sleep because I wasn't sleeping.
Yeah.
And the options for melatonin
Yeah,
threw
buddy.
me into an anxiety
Wow.
space, a space of anxiety. Like seriously, I couldn't. My brain couldn't, you know what I'm saying, wrap itself around why there's so many options and which one do I choose.
What?
I chose none and I left.
Really?
Yeah, didn't choose any. I left.
Wow.
Even to this day, I've got an issue with too many options. Like
Interesting.
like if it's Cheesecake Factory,
All the
hate it.
Yeah.
I hate ordering from the Cheesecake Factory.
Cheesecake
They've got
Factory, by the way, is overpriced and not that great for the record. So you're not missing out.
But they have a mini magazine
A
for
fucking cheesecake.
the menu.
Yeah.
Yeah, their menu's insane.
Way too many options for me.
It's not,
So I didn't realize
you're not missing out.
the anxiety part. So I had to get that addressed. And then I was able to address the hypervigilance, you know what I'm saying, when I'm sitting back and I'm paying attention to everybody that's walking into the corner store. I'm paying attention to their waistline or their, you know what I'm saying, their hands, or, you know what I'm saying? And I'm very, you know what I'm saying, I'm on it.
Yeah.
That's not normal.
No.
You know what I mean? It's not normal. Maybe today and age it might be a perk as far as a skill set, but it's not normal.
No.
So I had to address my mental health. That wasn't addressed. And it put me in situations and places. I started to drink again. I started to smoke weed again.
Damn.
Smoking Black and Mild. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting there smoking. Because it's out of boredom and I don't know how to measure my time and I'm being anxious. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of things that I'm
Sure.
addressing. I don't want to take medication.
So you're self-medicated.
Yeah, I don't want to take no medication, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and, you feel me? So once I addressed my mental health, things kind of started to fall into place.
Okay.
I was able to articulate things differently because I knew what it was.
Okay.
Before I didn't know what it was. I didn't realize why I felt the way I felt.
Yep.
So yeah, that's where I kind of lens.
And what do? You doing therapy? You doing
Yeah.
Well-
so yeah, obviously
The
at
first
some
thing
point.
I did was therapy.
therapy? Okay.
I sought out a therapist, and just in my opinion, it wasn't successful. They just didn't.
You didn't click with them.
Yeah, it was. They were really textbook,
Yeah.
and I'm sure that my experience isn't. You know what I'm saying?
All therapists are different, and
Agreed.
some fit for you and some don't.
Right, but I think that what it was for me is I needed a therapist that had experience with my experience.
Yep.
Most therapists don't.
Nope.
So I got with the mental health that were in some institutions for recommendations for therapists outside of institutions for people with my experience.
Okay.
And that kind of helped.
Okay.
My Dr. J, man, he's just, and I know what therapists do because I went to school for that. So I understand they're just playing tennis with me and they're throwing back my ideas and rewording it to where I can kind of pick it up. They don't have the same emotional attachment that I do. So I appreciate that piece. But that changed it. Changed the dynamic. It kind of made me see like that I could do some other things. I was already, you know what I'm saying, helping people in the community, just doing what I do in the community. I volunteer for UARC. It's the Urban Aging Residents Coalition.
Okay.
I
You're
volunteer-
doing this while you're working at Honda.
Oh, let me back up. I'm just jumping around. I quit Honda in March.
Okay. So
March.
how long did you work at Honda?
From December to March.
Okay.
March. Well, Honda it's a smaller person's job. It's like I'm bending down in the cars. I just couldn't physically do it much
Yeah,
longer.
shit's tough.
Yeah, it wasn't for me.
Manual labor. Yeah.
So I went to what was called Horton Emergency Vehicles
Okay.
out off of Stringtown Road, and they make the ambulances and fire trucks. And went there. I stayed there for about 6 months, and that was cool. But it's just it was no upward mobility.
But still, you're getting hired.
Oh yeah, I'm getting hired. I didn't have
Like-
listen. The easiest things
That's crazy.
were I
Like-
didn't have an issue getting a job.
Yeah, that's wild.
I didn't have
That's
an issue.
wild.
I did have an issue getting a job in this field.
Yeah.
In the field of reentry, I had an issue getting a job and getting help with the reentry space, not because of my record, but because of the gatekeepers. The gatekeeping was kind of like what I was telling you about the silos. They work inside these silos when it comes to resources or even people. You know what I'm saying? They work in these silos. And they don't want to relinquish, you know what I'm saying, their assets, you know what I'm saying, the people. They just don't. I reach out to them and say, hey, let me just, where do I fit in? This is what I do. This is what I can do. Where do I fit in? Where can I help? How can I help? And it was a lot of shut doors for about 2 years. About 2 years. I did get what I said, Shannon Harden. I got with Shannon Harden, and he, you know what I'm saying, had some initiatives that he put me on to. But it was my mom. My mom, her name is Ann Valentine. She got me with her friend named Pamela Shields. Do you know what Pamela Shields is?
God, that name sounds so familiar.
She started UARC in her front yard, the Urban Aging Residents Coalition, but she's got her hat in so many arenas because she really cares about the community. And that's what, like, her passion kind of, you know what I'm saying, brought me to her. It kind of brought us together with my mom. So I volunteer with them, and I do their volunteer coordination to help them set up, tear down. And they're just getting bigger and bigger and bigger as we, you know what I'm saying, talk, because it's a senior motivated resource, you know what I'm saying, space. It's not like a senior center.
Right.
But it's, you know what I'm saying, they're that business. But yeah, I got with them, and it was like off to the races. I got to meet some people that I needed to meet, you know what I mean, and deal with some people that I needed to deal with. Yeah.
So what do you do now for
Yeah,
work? What's your...
so I know I know you work with the prisons.
Well,
So how the hell did that happen?
okay. So let me back up a little bit too. Around when I quit Horton, I went to school for my bartending license
Okay.
as a mixologist. So I went to school for bartending. I met Vanessa, and she's really dope. She runs Ohio Bartenders for Hire, and she started putting me in these spaces where they do high end weddings, office engagements, you know what I'm saying, things like this. So she's put me in these places, and I just got to meeting some other people. I ran across people that were coming home, and
You're networking like a motherfucker.
Yeah,
You're doing a great,
but that was inadvertently.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I wasn't even doing that on purpose until I started to do it intentionally. It was really, you know what I'm saying, like whimsical. It was really whimsical.
Yeah.
Until I started seeing guys that came home, especially DB, Dunbar, where they kind of went through the same experience, the same space.
Yep.
Yeah, so I got, like I said, after that, I kind of got involved in the civic space. When I met Pamela Shields, she put me in touch with a lot of other people because she's got her hat in a lot of arenas. What I do now is in line with that, and I work for Horizon Prison Initiative, and they have it's similar to a therapeutic community, but it's an intensive inpatient program inside a prison. It's a dorm that they live in, and they do a lot of cognitive theory based, you know what I'm saying?
Cognitive,
training.
behavioral,
Yeah, a lot of
CBT.
It's based around that, and it is multi-faith. It's got about 130 guys there.
Now you started this?
No. This has been started. This is a business that's already in place.
Okay.
Yeah, I just
You just
started
became
there.
a part of it.
Yeah, I just became a
Okay.
part
And
of
this
it.
is your job now.
This is my
This
job
is what
now.
your 9 to 5. This is what you get paid to
My
do
employment.
now.
Yes, they pay me to do what I do.
So you go into prison now. The prison's paying you to come in, lead these groups?
Well,
and...
what it is I can facilitate groups, but the Horizon program itself, the clients, the IPs, they run that program.
Yeah.
They run it. What I do is I get them prepared for reentry.
Okay.
I'm the reentry coordinator and the community resource coordinator. So I get the resources from out here in the community that they actually need to get that investment. And I help them prepare with the plan. Not because I'm the best guy for the job to get them ready to go home. It's just that I've experienced this. And I experienced it with a critical eye to where the gaps are. Because there's a lot of guys that have been released from prison, you know what I mean, 5, 10 times. And I'm not saying that my release from prison this time is a successful one. I'm saying that this time right now, I kind of understand where I got it wrong.
Yeah.
So this is what they pay me to do. I come in there, I make the plan with them, and I make sure they are attached and a part of the resources that they need to get home successfully.
So what is that? What are those resources?
You name it. It could
so
be
it's
housing.
like mental health, housing.
The biggest thing for me is mental health.
Okay.
Because for me, and I can only use my experience, for me, the other stuff seems so easy, and there are so many outlets for resources where they're concerned.
I
IDs,
agree.
housing,
Yeah.
things like that. But housing, mental health, healthcare, the overall wellness, the wraparound services is what I really.
Because you don't have your mental health together. All that is
You're-
essentially
doesn't-
bullshit.
doesn't
Yeah, it
matter
doesn't
anyway.
matter.
Doesn't
You
even
can be
matter.
given the world, and I'll still fuck it up.
Doesn't even matter.
100%, yeah.
Doesn't even matter. See, I think the thing is that I'm getting guys. One, it's a community in there. You guys know this. That's
Sure.
a community.
Yeah, yeah.
They would like to believe that it was micro in comparison to a larger society, but in reality, it's not. It just has some of the same parameters. The objective is for my guys to come home as good neighbors. Period.
Yeah.
It's imperative for me to help my guys come home as good neighbors
Yeah,
because
people need to realize that most people who are in prison are coming home.
They're
They're
coming
back
home.
to your community, and they're going to be your neighbor.
one way or another, they're either going to get gas
Yeah.
at the Speedway, they're going to
Yeah.
shop at the same Walmart, or they
Yep.
may literally live next door to you.
Yep.
But they are definitely going to be your neighbor.
Yep.
It is imperative for us to start to realize that our investment is real. It is important that you invest in them being good neighbors. You
Yeah.
want them to. I
Yeah.
need my job. I do it because they will come home and live next door to my mom.
Yeah.
Legitimately, they'll live next door to my sister or my niece.
Yeah. Your
Legitimately.
family, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I need them, when they see them, that they see my mother as somebody to be protected and not preyed upon. You know what I'm saying? I need them, the mindset to be of a good neighbor.
Yeah.
And to do so, you know what I'm saying, you got to get into that intrinsic value space and then understand that they have to get a Sonder experience going, understand that their world is their world and everybody has one. Everybody has one. Be mindful that when you come home that your family, the world's going to seem like it stops for a minute and then life goes on because that's what life does. And it's kind of hard for us coming home to start to carry everything that everybody
Isn't
was
that
helping us
interesting?
carry.
It's so interesting.
Seriously.
The day one thing, you get out and like you think, oh, I'm gonna eat a steak.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna hit my girl up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna smoke a cigarette. Then you wake up on day two,
Yeah. Like now what?
and oh shit,
They went back to work.
I don't
Yeah.
I don't have a job. I gotta find a place
Figure out what you gotta
live.
do.
I gotta my mental health. I gotta, and it just fucking hits you.
And if it's not addressed, because it can be addressed before they even leave.
It needs to be addressed immediately.
It needs to be addressed. I think the biggest disservice, I think I said this to you before, the biggest disservice that I got from DRC or the prison experience was being reminded that I was going home on day one.
Mm-hmm.
If I was offered programming, if I was offered therapy, if I was offered tutorship, mentorship from day one,
Take it.
reminding me that your sentence is 18 years, I know, but you're going home
Yeah.
from day one.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, that message is coming to somebody that's doing 6 months or 2 years. The average person
Sure.
that comes into the institution
Sure.
is 18 months.
Sure.
That being the message. These are the biggest ruckus makers, the biggest hooch makers, the biggest I want to get this pack in. These are the biggest, that sentence cycle. So if you instill in them initially, you're going home. You got to glean something from this. You know what I'm saying? It might be a little different. I think that was the biggest disservice on my behalf from DRC. But
And then-
go ahead.
Oh, so how do you get these guys that come from a life from the street, right? They do whatever, 5-10 years in prison. Their mentality is like kill or be killed. I'm gonna get you before you get me. How do you convince that person getting out that like, hey man, our way of thinking that's not normal? Like, how do you convince somebody that's had a lifelong experience that says like I should need to think this way to thinking like, normal people?
You don't convince them. There's no convincing. When you the experience has to be painful enough for you to not want to experience it again.
To make change.
You know what I mean? If it's not painful enough, I promise you, there's nothing.
Yeah, if you just
Yeah.
did 2.5
nothing.
and you're like, shit, that shit
Yeah,
was
that
was
nothing.
cake,
That was
yeah.
shit,
There's
that was
nothing
sweet.
And that's the thought
Then
process.
nothing's
I think
changed.
the biggest thing is like when they introduce juveniles to incarceration, period. When they introduce them to it, it instills it's a little seed and it's not very overt, but it says, I can do that.
So tell our viewers what you do. I mean, I know you just went over it, but what you do exactly now. And I say that because we had a video where I had worked in corrections, and there was a comment. There was a gentleman that said, I went and applied at a correctional facility with a record because of you, and I got the job. So explain exactly what you do,
Okay.
so that the viewers, or if there's anybody out there that thinks I have a background and I can't do that,
Right.
you can inspire them.
Okay. Well, first thing I say is I didn't have an issue with getting a job, but I may have shot at some jobs that were low hanging fruit. You know what I'm saying, like a
Sure.
Honda or a
Sure.
Hortons, because I knew they wouldn't really contest my record
Yeah.
per se. But when it came to working with people, I was really cautious. I was just like, I don't think that. I mean, I don't. I mean, I applied to Mount Carmel as an outreach specialist, and they hired me.
Really?
Yep, they hired me. I didn't get the job because I had a crappy driving record, and the job required driving.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So that said, hold on. They considered me for this. Now, like I said, I was doing things in the community, and they got this thing called First Fridays for reentry. And I ended up going to a First Fridays. I was doing it for months, but I went to this one First Fridays, and a guy named Nicholas Emmons was running First Fridays with Vanita Nevis from Arc Ministries.
Yep.
I knew Vanita because I knew Wendy. Wendy had just posted a job for an outreach therapist.
So funny because I know both
An
of them.
outreach specialist.
They're great people.
So I talked to Wendy. She said, listen, apply. I applied. But I saw Nick Emmons. And Nick Emmons said, hey, I think you might be good at this, man. You might be able to do this, man. He was my case manager for maybe 5 years when I was at Madison.
Okay.
He's now my boss through DRC. But he said, give it a shot. Shoot it out. Try.
Why not?
I had a resume because I've been doing a resume building thing. So I made a resume, but I geared it toward community outreach because that's what I was doing. I just geared my resume toward it. And I applied. And yeah, I went through an interview, and they said, well, let's give it a shot. Let's try. Let's see what it looks like. And I'm here. Yeah, I'm here. But
Holy shit.
as far as somebody applying, I really think that now in 2025 that there's not a huge collateral consequence where employment is concerned unless it's licensed employment. Now, that's where the CQE and all that kind of stuff comes into play.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that as far as employment is concerned, what it is that you want to do, I think it can be done, especially in this field. Especially, there's a vacuum.
Yeah.
There's a vacuum. You get people that go through this experience that we've gone through, and they really don't want any parts of it at all. They want to get it behind them. I don't want nothing to do with them. They'll be fine, and they go on with their lives. I wasn't able to do that.
I'm completely convinced that most people who are locked up are extremely smart, talented, and most people I know who are either ex-cons or addicts are some of the hardest working motherfuckers you'll ever meet in your life.
Yeah.
Because they feel like they have a chip on their shoulder and they have to prove that they're equal. That's how I look at it. And to hear that you go into different institutions.
Well, I go into London exclusively right now. I was going to go
How
into
often?
Every day.
Monday through Friday?
Yeah. I can go in there even Saturday. I try and go there 3 times, like 3 days a week. Yeah, 3 days a week. I try and get down there. My schedule is pretty flexible.
So cool. Wow.
And my schedule is pretty flexible because I do it, like I say, I do a lot in the community. So when there's a resource fair that my guys can use the information, I'm there and I'm making contact. But see, my resource people are people. It's not really like I've got the Urban League that does this thing.
Yeah.
I've got somebody at the Urban League that does this thing.
Sure.
Or if it's the United Way, or if it's the commissioner's office, or whatever office, there's somebody there that I make contact with, I network with. Yeah, my job is a pretty dope job in a sense that I get to do it. It's mind blowing to walk into an institution and them hand me keys.
Yep.
Yeah.
A man down and a walk-in.
Yep.
Walk out
That's
the front
crazy
door.
to me.
Yep.
It's crazy that I'm in an institution where I'm counseling and helping guys with their reentry plan with guys that I played basketball with. We were on the same basketball
They're
team.
still
in prison.
there. Yep.
You know what I mean? The recreation director was the recreation director at Madison.
But the value of that's the thing. The guy you were playing basketball with, and the lived experience, and you come in on the other side, all of a sudden he sees that, and he starts thinking differently.
Let me give you another one. It's not just him. Imagine the COs, the guy that's now major at the institution I'm at now that were COs when I was in prison that sees me coming in. Now they're able to look at the guys that are in there right now a little differently.
And see
See,
the
the
potential.
entire time I used
Yeah.
to, the entire time I was at Madison, I used to tell them, I say, hey, man, do you live in Montana, like on 88 acres in Montana or something like that? Because in reality, like these guys that you're being an asshole to are your neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're going to come home. Like unless you live like, well, I got to carry and concealed. I said, well, so do they if they're not reformed.
Yeah.
The difference is you care which window you shoot in. They don't. You really want to invest in them as humans. You want to
Wow.
invest in them as people.
Wow.
Because if you don't, I promise you, humans are humans. When we feel violated, we do human things.
Wow. Dude, your story is incredible. I want to ask you to send a message out to our viewers, anyone watching, inspiration. I'm sure you have one. I'm sure you've done this before. But what would your message be to anybody that is watching, that is struggling, that is maybe fighting a case, maybe they just got out, maybe there's no fucking hope because I have had a record and da 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 da. What's your message to them?
Well, one, I've never done this before. So
Really?
I've never done this before. And two, as far as a message would be, I would say, don't worry. Because the things you can change, you will.
If you want to.
No, you will. You will. The things that can be changed, you'll change them. It could be destructively or constructively, but they will be changed because change is inevitable. You got to choose to grow. When you make that choice, change starts to seem like it's a little more malleable and you're a little more in control of it. But I would say don't worry. If you're fighting a case right now, what you can do, you will do.
Control what you can.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not sure if that's the message I want to send to people as far as my message, but my message to people would be that there is a true Sonder experience. Understand that you don't understand. You don't get it. You won't get it.
It's exactly.
I will never understand what it means to be a black woman in a grocery store with 2 kids. I will never understand what it means to be a white woman in the grocery store with 2, or a white male. I would never understand that. A black dude that's in the same position I'm in, his growing up might have been, I will never understand. And it took me a minute to understand that I will never understand. I could be empathetic, but you'll never get it.
I love that. Dude, thank you so much.
No, I
you
appreciate
you are that was awesome.
No, I appreciate
Seriously,
you,
that
man.
was spectacular. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to do this, dude.
Yeah, man.
That was
No, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate being here, man. First time I've been in a podcast at all.
wow.
So, yeah,
Well, thank you, man.
I appreciate it.
That's it.
Thanks.